Well done on the WNN video. Oh yeah, I saw that video. How does anybody watch that slobbering idiot WNN? Like the guy's he's a documented liar. Get ready for the pain. Well done on the WNN video. Oh yeah, I saw that video. How does anybody watch that slobbering idiot WNN? Like the guy's he's a documented liar. Get ready for the pain.
in the light. You will find the road. You will find the road. Hey, ooh, did you ever believe that I could leave you standing out in the cold? Hey, yeah, baby, I know how it feels 'cause I have slipped through to the very depths of my soul, yeah. Oh, oh, baby, I just wanna show you what it gives you. The kiss from every bend in the road. Now listen. Oh, whoa, whoa. As I was relieved it would be for you too, honey. As you would for me. Oh, I will share your love. Let me share your love. Ooh, let me share your love.
NTFG SFW listeners, how's everybody doing today? Sarah's with me this afternoon. She's still on the timid shy side, a little bit shy. We have commissioned some works of art. We're looking to you can vote image 1, image 2 in the chat. If you have a preference on the 2 we showed during the video, we'll rerun that clip at the end. We're going to throw up some original works of art. We're trying to get something, that gives us a little unique flair in the background. My graphics work is, kid with a coloring book kind of stuff. Some of it turns out good, some of it not so good. But I think we need something with a little more flash than red dots in the background. At NTFG SFW, I would, if our artist is out there listening, focus on the SFW, the so fucking weird part, and try to work with something that communicates that weirdness without being over the top about it. Let's see who's in the chat with us today. We have Dearmid Costello, who apparently thought he came in through the wrong door. Flo B is in, first NTFG SFW of the day. Flo B has greetings and salutations for everybody. Delete Lips is with us, not happy with her healthcare provider at the moment. Get a second opinion, love. Don't give up on the medical profession. Remember, 50% of doctors are below average intelligence for doctors. Keep looking. You'll find somebody. Get a second opinion. You'll find somebody. Well, I'm still praying for you on a regular basis. So, close one door, another door opens. Try to find somebody you can work with a little better. NTFG is Sarah's in the chat asking about the sound quality. Do we have sound now? Walter Texas is with us. Says, hey to Coded Friend and everyone. Pink hand waving. Walter Texas adds his NTFG. Got to tag a little SFW with that NTFG over here. Dermot Costello says, slot the music and start talking. Walter is here. Oh, stop. I think that should have been stop the music. Walter is with us. Coded Friend posting in the chat with a hello to Walter Texas. And a good, now we can start. Walter says, Chili's attorney looked confused this morning. He did a little bit. Or maybe not so much confused, but more of a tongue biting. Like, I think there were things he wanted to say that he didn't. He probably got an idea it was better to just keep his mouth shut, wait the 2 weeks, and come on back. Follow the judge's instructions. Everything goes better when you do that. Flo B says, hey to Coded. Walter says, hey to Coded. Our crowd is thinning out. Walter Texas wants me to put numbers on the artwork so we can vote on them. That's actually a good idea. I should have done that. All right, let's do this. We'll pop this up. Where are my little photos? These are our starter images. We will move on from here. I kind of like the starkness of this one. Let me blow that up a little bit. Go over to get a little share action going on that. Share screen, share. So this would be image number 1. And you can vote in the post-stream comments also. That's not a problem. Get rid of that comment. So this would be picture number 1. I'm a little partial to this one. A bit on the bleak side, but I like it. I like it. And then we have, so this will be number 1. Number 1 is moon or planet, big giant rock in the sky, and skyline, city skyline with ocean. But the other one has water too. So that would be number 1. And number 2 would be, this. Oh, I dropped it. I should have dropped it the same. Let me change that out. Stop the screen share. Share the screeny screen. Oh, I don't know which is which. Hold on one second. That's the one we looked at. Share my screen. And this would be number 2. I like the yellow city lights in the background on this one. It gives you kind of a nighttime feel. Gives you a late night feel, actually. I like this one. I like them both. I like the stark nature of the first one, but on this second photo, it's got a little more of that light quality. The first one kind of communicates to me an absence of light, a diminishing of light. And the second one here, I think because of the building lights in the background and the reflection through the water, I think it has more of a it still has a bit of that starkness to it. I think it's the grayish nature and the clouds in the background, but it's got more of a lit up feel to it. So this would be number 2. The first one we showed would be number 1. You feel free to give your opinion on either one. Let's see what we got here. Walter throws me an SFW. And after his "we be weird" comment, he puts at least 50%. Half weird's okay. You need to be able to be not weird at times. Walter says he's got the wrong glasses on again. I don't have any glasses, Walter, and I desperately need a pair. Delete Lips votes 2. Walter says Lips, especially coded, he's very shy. Delete Lips says extremely shy. I'm not fucking shy at all. Far from shy. I am oddly enough, I am a private person. I do like to be alone. I don't like to be alone in urban settings as much as when I'm out in the country. I do like to roam around alone. It's easier to be still and quiet when you're alone, and then you can give the opportunity for the things of nature to lose track of you and appear before you. I've sat quietly on a boulder outcrop in the mountains in Pennsylvania, a place my grandparents had, and watched a deer or 2 amble by. I've seen beavers chewing. I've seen beavers chew trees to the point where they dropped them and then dragged them off and build a dam with them. A buddy of mine, my grandparents had a place in the mountains, Poconos Mountains in Pennsylvania, Angus country, red Angus, black Angus, some dairy cows. And there was a kid that lived down the road, probably about a mile and a half walk. And his grandparents literally owned the fucking side of a mountain. The amount of land they had was just amazing to me as a kid. Because I came out of suburbia, we had probably a 3/4 acre yard corner lot, but the houses going down the road, they were fairly tight together, not as tight as they build them today in suburban layouts, but that whole idea when I was a young kid of owning acres and acres of land really got to fucking bite into me, because after I got older, worked, and fortunately retired at a pretty young age, I went out and bought land. That's what I did. I bought land. When I made my decision to go to Southeast Asia on tour, because I had done Europe, I had seen quite a bit of America, been to Mexico, been up to Canada. When I went to what drove me to Southeast Asia was, I think I mentioned it the last broadcast, my uncle married into the family, my aunt's husband. So relation by marriage, not relation by blood. A big fucking German dude. American born, but German lineage. And he's the one that taught me to bow hunt. So I spent a lot of time with him hunting. He's the one that taught me how to bird hunt too, with a bow, which is not really an easy thing. You basically sit on your ass. You put your feet on the bow and you draw the string back. So you don't left to right alter your trajectory on your bow. You only alter vertical, up, down. So the idea is someone has to flush the bird. It's kind of like skeet shooting with a bow. Somebody has to flush the bird, and when the bird comes up, if it's flying across your path and it hard rights, you don't adjust it to hit the bird. That one gets away. He made the right move. He got lucky. If the bird flies across your vertical axis, you take your shot. You adjust your altitude on your bow shot, and you take your shot. This way, you don't adjust left, right. So, there's no accidents with the individuals flushing birds, and you don't have to worry about fucking ricochets and shit like that, because an arrow will bounce off shit. So, it's not fucking easy. Highly satisfying when you first tag one, though. Highly satisfying. The first bird I hit using that methodology actually was a mourning dove in a tree. Literally picked it right off the branch. And, mourning dove's kind of a small target. So once I got that, and that's a pigeon class bird. That's squab. We cleaned it up and we ate it. That was the first time I ate a wild bird. The campfire thing, cleaned it right on site, all that, cooked it up, and enjoyed the benefits of our labors. But after that, it was no more picking off sitting birds. It was hit them in flight. And where I grew up in upstate New York, there was a decent amount of pheasant hunting to be done, when I was younger. The area I grew up in upstate New York has been, over the past few decades, heavily urbanized and suburbanized. So the habitat for quail, pheasant, those types of birds is diminishing rapidly. So now you got to take an hour drive outside the area where I grew up to find, good farmland where the birds nest, because pheasant are ground nesting birds, not tree nesting birds. So, how did I get off on the bow hunting topic? The older I get, the more nostalgic I get for memories I had of my childhood. Like my teen years were really out of fucking control. I was figuring out who I was and the abilities I had, and at too young an age. Like, authority was always the thing. The threat of getting caught and authority figures were always the thing that kind of kept me in check when I was preteen. The whole wait till your father gets home thing would settle me down real fucking fast. Because I didn't want to, I didn't want to be in Dutch with my dad. I just didn't want to. I had a real fear when I was younger of disappointing my father. Somewhere in my around 12, 13 years old, I realized that, the whole authority figure thing, if you get caught, I realized that, really wasn't the case. The slow and the dumb get caught. The smart and nimble circumvent, gone before authority figures show up. I realized, I think, at too young an age that there weren't enough authority figures, and it was easy to get beyond their grasp. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, if you wanted to do what you wanted to do, you went out into the fucking woods. I cut down. I think the first time I got in trouble as a kid, I was in elementary school, and me and two of my buddies were chopping down trees and literally building a log cabin style fort. And I think I was maybe 8 or 9 years old at the time. I mean, we had 4 walls up and a doorway. We didn't have roof on yet, which was probably would have been a task beyond our ability. Yeah, because we were fucking small kids. These were trees with, trunks that were probably 10 to 15 inches in diameter. I mean, I spent 2 summers cutting fucking lawns and giving up all my money to, make reparations for the fucking trees we cut down. So, I kind of realized if you get out into the fucking country, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. There's nobody around to tell you can't fucking do it, until the property owner shows up. And then, I learned by lesson quick on that one. So I think I still had a bit of that chip on my shoulder when I was brokering, because I was making fuck you money. I was making, there's a saying I picked up from a college roommate who I'm still really good friends with. He would just, his blow off for everything was, if you've got bail money, you can write your own constitution. And I think for almost a decade, I kind of had that idea in my head. And when I was brokering, I had fucking bail money. So I pretty much could write my own constitution. I paid to have a lot of problems just go the fuck away. So after I stopped brokering, when you're in your 20s and you get street fights and altercations and shit like that. And it's kind of a joke the first time. Everybody has a good laugh. You learned your lesson. You don't do it again. Then you do it a second time. There's still a little humor in it, depending on the situation, but people are starting to look at you like, you can't keep fucking doing this, right? And and you do what you got to do. And then, the third time happens. And then it's like, it's getting fucking serious now. The fines get higher, the lawyer fees get higher. And then one day you realize that, fuck, they're not going to just take cash from me next time. So the system kind of forces you to straighten up. And the system is, especially males, because in the human male, your testosterone peaks, your body's ability to produce testosterone peaks somewhere around the age of, late 20s, 27, 28 years old. This is also the time where your body stops to produce the chemicals that or the production of starts to rapidly decrease. The production of the chemicals in your body that cause your ligaments and tendons to have, really good elasticity. This is why, you could go out at 22, 23 years old and play, a full contact pickup sand lot football and, go home, take a hot bath. And, by the time you woke up in the morning, you were good. You're 29, you're 30 years old. It don't work that way anymore. I think that's why everybody switches from playing sandlot football to basketball, because there's less, hard shot contact. Not that basketball's any safer, because, I know a dozen guys in their late 20s who, broke a foot, twisted an ankle, lose them at work, all that kind of shit, because they're playing half-court basketball in their time off, and, they're not stretching or taking care of themselves, and they learn that one the hard way. So, if you're a young man in your 20s and you're getting into trouble, there is there is an unwritten policy that if you can't get your shit right, we'll just incarcerate you until you're 28, 29, 30 years old, because that's the point where your testosterone drops off. You don't get as aggressive as quickly. It's easier for you to begin that process of learning how to self-correct. So, unfortunately for me, I didn't really, get fully into it in the physical side of life, probably until my middle 30s. I stretched it out a little long. But I didn't I wasn't encumbered by the normal responsibilities that most people have in their 30s. A spouse, children, mortgage payment. I didn't have any of that shit. So it was easier for me to run a little longer. And, the only thing that straightened me up was the simple fact that if I continued to behave the way I was behaving in public, I was probably going to wind up incarcerated. So in the chat on the picture vote, I think our only feedback is 2. Diarmid Costello says he was the coolest kid in his own mind. In my own mind, I was not cool at all. Like, I just wasn't cool. Like, I know who the cool kids were when I was growing up in school. I knew who everybody wanted to be like, wanted to emulate. I didn't really want to be like them. And I look back at the cool kids from my junior high school days, and none of them ever got out of our hometown. It's the fatal flaw in any forward trajectory, and that is to peak too early. Well, I don't think I've peaked yet. Hopefully. Walter, Texas says, I never wanted to disappoint my mom, dad, and family. Walter says, so he snuck around. Dear Mid Costello says, Dan will use that info against you, Walter. Fuck Dan. His name isn't even fucking Dan. And, you know, we're going to get into it because, look, this fucking Memento Mori series in the 70s, 78, 79, 80, Josh is on fucking fire. Look, when I started needling the kids at Welsh News Network, when I started needling them, you know, it was really just to take away a bit of their comfort, their confidence, which I successfully did when I fucking slammed the lid shut on the legal fee griftathon. Oh, by the way, Dan, that defamation lawsuit against Chile, that was a couple days to file the paperwork, right? Is the fucking paperwork filed yet, Nancy boy? It's been months now, right? Month and a half, 6-8 weeks. I lost track. It's been so fucking long. You made statements in middle March, early March, that the U.S. was the most corrupt government in the world. UN report. Then you doubled down and said report after report after report. And then you tripled down and said every report says the U.S. government is the most corrupt government in the world. I haven't seen a fucking single receipt yet. You know, Dan, you're the guy that never produces any receipts. You just make statements. I've also noticed, Dan, that your little group, Witch of Heart, Mark the Sarcastic, Pud Puller, what law school does that little queer bait go to? Where does he go to law school? Does he go to law school? What contract do you have with the Home Office, Dan? Janitorial? Or are you the guy that fills the potholes and makes sure the shrubberies are kept nice and trimmed and neat? What do you contract at the Home Office, Dan? Are you the guy that changes the fucking light bulbs? The fluorescent tube is out and on floor 3, office 509. Call Dan. Call Dan. He'll change the light bulb. Dan's the light bulb change guy. Dan has a contract with the Home Office to change the fucking light bulbs. What's your contract, Dan? Did you serve in the military? Because all I've heard from Dan about the military is boat stories. I could tell you boat stories. I had a fucking boat. I bought a boat when I was 22 years old. I had a boat, ran the Mohawk River, ran the Hudson River, did a lot of fishing, did a lot of water skiing, did a lot of wakeboarding. I could talk boat talk with you all day long. It doesn't mean I was in the fucking Navy. So what's the proof? What proof do you have? Because the story the only service story, I've heard a couple of things. You couldn't identify the location of buildings at Dartmouth when Shuggy was trying to give you the opportunity to show that you had been in the military. You couldn't get that right. Your other story is that you were in Bosnia-Herzegovina, around the same areas that Hank was in, which, you know, kind of leads me to believe that you heard some stories Hank told, and you're now massaging Hank's stories as your stories, and then you give Hank's details back to him, because Hank's not the sharpest fucking guy going. You know, listen to him talk. Very superficial. Nothing, no real in-depth analysis of anything. It's just superficial dick joke shit. That's all Hank's good for. So Hank told you his stories after broadcast one night when you hang around for 3-4 hours after you did a 5-hour broadcast. He's got a few beers in him, maybe smoked a joint or something, and he blabs on his stories. And you take the story and you wait a couple days, a week or two, and then you start relating back to Hank details of places you were where Hank already told you he was, and Hank doesn't remember what he fucking said, and then all of a sudden Hank's validating your account of Hank's story, thinking it's your story. That's how you work, dude. I'm going to spell it out for you. Shiz has gotten into a little tete-a-tete tiff, which Shiz is now referring to as an internet slap fight. I kind of like the internet slap fight for one simple reason. It's a fucking slap fight. No, who gets hurt in a fucking slap fight? Like, I've been in a million fucking slap fights growing up, even as a young adult, because sometimes you do it just to goof out, and you do it because somebody was like, hey, you want a slap fight? And it's a dude you really just want to get a good fucking smack on his fucking cheek. Like, you're friendly with the guy, you hang around together, but, he might be a little on the fucking annoying side, or maybe made a comment to a girl you were with in the past, and you're like, all right, here's my opportunity to put a fucking stinger on this douche. So I'm okay with the slap fight thing. It's petty and it's bullshit, but in the case of the Welsh News Network, those sleeping fucking weirdos, and that look, I'm having trouble now deciding who I dislike more. That little liar for hire, Danning-Kruger, because you Dummy Kruger, you are the Danning version of Dummy Kruger. You are too stupid to know how fucking stupid you are. And I don't know whether I dislike the Danning-Kruger guy more or whether I dislike that Blacka. Blacka. She's disgusting. My friend has Chili's dog. I'm not just talking about your fake photos and your faked up personal appearance. I'm talking about the ugliness of a soul that lies about something so fucking petty to get, oh, you're a hero attention, like lie about getting Chili's dog out of an animal shelter when we clearly see in body cam footage that you released Chili's nephew taking the fucking dog at the scene. I mean, what benefit do you think you're going to derive from such bullshit fucking lies? It's so fucking weird. It literally is so fucking weird. The weirdest thing I've seen Welsh News Network do to date is the lie about Chili's dog. Like, I can understand the embellishment with the FBI shit and the rest of that crap, but good God, you're fucking lying about getting someone's dog. Are you that fucking desperate for a pat on the back? Are you that fucking desperate for a pat on the back? And doesn't that tell you something, Dan, about the needs of your significant other, the partner, that she's whatever she's not getting, not feeling fulfilled, so she has to go out and lie about something as petty as we have my friend got Chili's dog from the animal shelter. It's so fucking sick. I mean, why lie about that? Why? You're that desperate for fucking kudos? Ugh. Ugh. It's just gross. It's led me to have this opinion of her. literally led me to have this opinion of her. Look at that. Does that look like the I mean, where's the beauty? Blah. That's all I can think of when I think of Becca is blah. Like something I would want to spit out of my mouth, some foul tasting, foul smelling thing that you just want to get rid of. That's so fucking ugly. It's insane. And I'm not just talking like physical ugliness. I'm talking like rotten to the core, lying about picking up someone's dog. That kind of ugly. That kind of gray-haired, run-down, seen your better days, and you're never going to achieve anything like that again. So you hook up with a pathological liar and just yip, yeah, his lies. And then you're like, I want a big lie too. How about we say I saved Chili's dog? Good fucking God. I mean, I understand why Josh is laughing so fucking hard at this Welsh simp crew, this snooze network, this biggest and best news stories on the internet. Which one was big, Dan? And which one was the best? Was the best one the one when Becca lied about her friend getting Chili's dog from an animal shelter and woohoo! Welsh News Network saved the day. We have Chili's dog. Is that the best? Is that the big hoorah? Is that the best? Or is the whole fake FBI? We have an FBI source, you did say. We have an FBI contact, you did say. We have an informant at the FBI, you did say. You communicated those fucking ideas. And you outright said some of that shit. When did I say I had an informant? Writes On put it together, right? Didn't Writes On put all that together out of your clips, Dan? You still fucking lying about it. FBI shit, documented lies, saving Chili's dog from an animal shelter. Blacka, documented lie. We're going to sue Chili and put an end to Chili. Lie, fucking lie, lie. You don't want to end Chili, Dan. What are you going to have to fucking talk about if you end Chili? You got to stop talking about me because I make you look like a fucking fool every time. Keep responding to me, Dad, because other people like Josh, Memento Mori, that series, other people are going to start picking up on the fact that you can't stop fucking lying. Like the hatchet job you did on Corrections 101, because you have to do everything in your fucking power to discredit him because he knows the identity, I do too, of Witch of Heart. Now, I didn't get it from him. I already had it. He knows the identity of Witch of Heart, school teacher. I wonder if the PTA would like to know the children you're responsible for. I wonder if, those people that entrust you with their kids would want to know about your internet goings on and your radical attitude toward the acceptance of lies and the rejection of the fucking truth for an agenda. Because the hatchet and that Mark the sarcastic lime sucker, that fucking little fruitcake. Well, show some fucking receipts. You're going to law school. You're claiming to be a law student. You do that because then you can do the legal expert, which you're not if you're a fucking law student. You're still a student. You're still learning. But you want the clout that comes with, oh, I'm a law student. So what? You're a fucking law student in the UK. Who gives a fucking shit? You don't even do any news on happenings in the United Kingdom. So what good is your fucking United Kingdom law school bullshit? You don't even talk about United Kingdom events. You talk about American events. So your knowledge of the UK law is useless to Americans, which the majority of your audience is. So you two, Witch of Heart and Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter. Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter. Witch of Heart and Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter. I think these two have the same kind of webcam, vibratory, battery-operated relationship that Becca and Dan have. So when all that Jeremiah Payne nonsense was going on, and all the people Dan brought up onto Dan's stream to announce how sorry they were and that they really weren't involved with the bad things, they pulled back just before or at the time the really bad things were, they had nothing to do with it. And that poor frauditor Reaper, she lost $300 in t-shirt sales. It's a fucking lie on top of lie on top of fucking lie. So Shiz called out frauditor Reaper on the t-shirt to claim that she suffered a financial loss because of Falcax, Fraudit Wrangler, and Corrections 101, right? So in rides Dan. But it's not really a horse. It's like a Monty Python skit, 2 coconuts. Sound effects, because we gotta make it look bigger than it is. We have to make the hero look heroic because his actions don't. So we have to costume him as heroic, much like that fucking Charles the Turd, where they put a big fucking bejeweled crown on his head and a big giant fur coat, so you can't see what a fucking waferish twink the fucking Dumbo-eared retard is. You get it? You get that? Oh, they're not men. They're not men. They're not real men. They're not real women. They're caricatures hidden under stage costumes, right? That's what the crown and the robe is. Don't look at the man. Look at the symbols of the king. Maybe we could get Fake It Till You Make It Blue Bacon to do a tuba sounding for the entry of Dan and Blacka. We saved. Look at that look on her face. Look, she just looks like a fucking person you don't want to have anything to fucking do with. Look at that look on her fucking face. Look at her. Like she's just ready to smack some fucking 7-year-old. Look at her. Yeah, really fucking people. You're all fucking bad people because you don't fucking nod and harumph when we tell stories about how we triumphed in the saving of Chili's dog. Douche. Ugh, that ugly fucking face. All fucking gray-haired and fucking uselessly shriveled up, fucking worthless. Ugh. Blacka. It's just like a thing that you instantly want to spit out. It's like a side on the table, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Somebody says, try it. You'll like it. You never had it before. And you get a forkful and you put it in your mouth, and immediately you're like, where's the fucking kitchen sink? Blacka. Ugh, you ugly fucking bitch. She's running around now telling people that Coded Friend is suspended for 90 days. That will turn out to be another documented lie of yours, Becca. You never get anything right. You just make shit up. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're 100% completely fucking wrong. So this is, today's topic was to talk about a little art. These fuckers at Welsh News Network, it's the art of the lie. It's the art of deception. Remember, the art iconography, the backdrop, is a devil subduing an angel. Evil over good. That's their iconography. Look at this ugly person. Look at this ugly person and the look on her face, the side glance, the fucking school marm fucking frown. I mean, I'm so disappointed with the fucking world because it won't work the way I want it to. How do you want the world to work, Becca? You want to be able to just say, make up any fucking lie and have people fucking genuflect to you? Good God. Good God, you disgusting fucking turd. You're a turd. You and that fucking chain-smoking, heartless Danning-Kruger, you two belong together. Not physically. You belong together with a fucking Cat 5 cable in between you, a webcam, and a battery-operated vibrating device. That's what you fucking deserve. Glad you got it. I'm glad you got it. When is Danny Boy coming to the fucking U.S.? I want to meet up with him. Let's make a date, a time. Let's have a sit down. You can bring that geriatric, blue-haired fucking fat boy with you because I've seen pictures of him. There's not a fucking thing intimidating about you. I'll bet Blue Bear that the quickest he's ever moved was when he slip cut a baked potato and knocked his fucking chicken leg off the plate and it almost fell on the floor and he caught it before it hit the floor. I'll bet you that's the quickest he's fucking moved in probably a decade. You say you're full-blooded Indian, half both sides, different tribes. But you look like a fucking white boy, dude. You look like a pale-ass, don't get no fucking sun white boy. Probably because you sleep in a fucking car most of the time you're getting paid, or you're on the fucking internet, in my chat room while you're on duty, harassing my listeners to talk to me on your behalf when I'm right there and you could have called in and talked to me any fucking time. But you gotta make up excuse after excuse after excuse while you hid in the background trying to get my listeners to talk to me on your behalf. Call me a liar on that one, and I'll bring up the screenshots. You're involved in an illegal gambling scheme. Doesn't matter whether it's dictated by Welsh law because Dan's in Wales. Becca's a co-host. Becca's in the U.S. The offering is offered to U.S. citizens. This is why the Welsh law says you have to provide physical tickets and you have to do it at the place of the event. And you cannot do it on social media. It's expressly forbidden in Welsh law to run a lottery and use social media for ticket sales because no one's getting a physical ticket. It's against the law in the U.S. to run a lottery without permitting. So you think you have an escape clause because Dan's in Wales, but you have Becca here. I bring a lawsuit against Becca. It's not a fucking problem. I'll call whoever I need to fucking call if it gets to that point to make sure the crime being committed is reported, because these are guys that make a daily living grifting money off listeners bitching about Chili's riding down the road while he's on his cell phone. And Jeremiah Payne is getting donations. Meanwhile, back at the Welsh News Network, we're running an illegal gambling operation daily. Your cover story for why your grift is different than their grift is bullshit. Your grift is grift. You're not the biggest and the best news on the internet. You're a paltry little sliver of a dying fucking caricature whose people are losing interest in on a fucking daily basis. You want to fatten up on the fucking chili fiasco. Why shouldn't I target your grift? Why shouldn't I target your grift? Especially seeing as you're cultivating this class, this atmosphere of grifters. Witch of Heart, Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter, Frauditor Reaper. You know, this whole fucking thing. My whole interest in I wanted to watch how Shiz operates. Shiz, without telling Shiz, and if she doesn't like what I was doing, then fine. I like Shiz. I think she's a quality person. I think she's focused on the truth, and I think that Shiz does do things to help resolve conflicts. Okay? I don't care what her motivation is. I really don't. She does things. She actively does things to help resolve conflicts, and she gets abused and shit on for it. Especially when the person, when, you know, there's two parties minimally in every conflict. So if someone's informing Shiz or complaining, hey, you know, I ordered a t-shirt from Fraudit Wrangler, or sorry, Fraudit Reaper, sorry, Fraudit Wrangler. I ordered a t-shirt from Fraudit Reaper. I did, you know, I didn't get the t-shirt. My money's not being refunded. She's now claiming she lost money. I'm worried I'm not going to get my t-shirt or my money back. $40 for a fucking t-shirt? And you're bitching, you're openly mocking what Chili charges for a fucking t-shirt? Come on. So I like Shiz. I've always liked Shiz. I got a good vibe off her from the beginning. Same thing with Josh, right? Josh and I had minimal conflict. I did, you know, I said what I said one time. I put my foot down. You want to believe what you want to believe? Fine. Goodbye. I hope the best for you. And I really did. I always did hope the best for Josh. And I continued to promote Josh's work, the Memento Mori series, not because I liked or disliked Josh, because I liked the product, the Memento Mori series. I'm sure that there's at least one dude inside Coca-Cola who's committed a few fucking crimes, you know, and victimized people, but I'm not stopping drinking fucking Coca-Cola because of it. There is a person in there. There's more than one person inside the Coca-Cola company that's fucking unsavory. Yeah, but I like Coke. I like the end product. I don't give a shit about the people that work there. I like Josh's end product. I like Josh too. That's a double bonus. If I didn't like Josh and was watching the Memento Mori series, I would still give it the credit I gave it, even if I didn't like Josh on a personal level, because that series is so fucking good. You know, and Josh has reached the point where, you know, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. And he's laughing about this shit. I love when Josh fucking laughs. I love that he lets it go. It's a fucking real, genuine laugh. And look, man, you can say things that cut, right? You can say things that cut, things that, you know, cut superficially, and shit that cuts to the bone. You know, I think Josh identified it correctly with Tina Slay. You know, when I pointed out the fact that Tina running around saying, I got to get that ugly fucking face off my fucking computer. When Tina ran around saying that, you know, the DEA agents that, you know, unfortunately killed her son. When she was running around saying that the DEA agent shot up her son with methamphetamine, I was like, man, that's just fucking going too far. You're welcome, dear man. But I also realized when my channel was early that if I called out any of Tina's shit, it would be the death of my fucking channel. You know, because she was the main source for inside shit on Chili. And I participated in it. I used her information. I ran with it. I mocked Chili. The reality is the codedfriend.001 channel is clearly tagged as parody, satire, and irony. We're not billing it. We're codedfriend.001 never billed itself as the biggest and the best online news, you know, parody, satire, and irony. And the tag for Sarah was really clear on the tag for, and by the way, the NTFGSFW is two people that split from the codedfriend.001 group. It's Sarah and a gentleman by the name of Cal, who is a third generation Greek. His dad is fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Like there's no doubt in my mind why Cal is successful in the business world, because when you see his father, like growing up in a household with that dude, you had to be fucking sharp, because he's the guy that would be, you know, he's the guy that's still at late in life, if you're sitting down to a meal with him, right, at the table, and let's say there's cannolis after meal, and Cal's dad will be like, hey, what kind of bird is that outside? If you turn your head and look out the fucking window, your cannoli is fucking gone. And he'll jack half of it in his mouth, bite into it, and when you turn back, he'll just smile at you. He'll just smile at you like, you can't, you know, I got you. There's nothing you can do about it. So Cal, growing up, he had to be quick. He had to be quick, and he had to pay attention to shit that was going on, because his dad, not to harm him, but in a loving way, would take advantage of him, take his shit away quick, just to make sure his kid grew up knowing to pay attention at all times. And, you know, the lesson is sometimes even the people you love the most, you got to watch what they're doing too, because they want your fucking cannoli. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to do anything wrong to you, but, you know, they like your fucking cannoli. And if you turn your head, they'll take your fucking cannoli. That's just the way it works there. So those two have been really supportive. I've known them for a long time. And, you know, they have their own agenda. They're looking, you know, they're looking for reaction data, and they're collecting data, and they're doing what they do. None of it's personal data. It's all data about, it's all human interaction data. Like they don't care who coded. If I was in the chat, they don't care who Diarmid Costello is as a person. They don't care who Walter Texas is as a person. They don't care who Flo B is as a person. What they care about is the reaction and interaction when topics are presented, or something that should get a reaction doesn't get a reaction. That's the kind of stuff that they're looking for. So, you know, Dan tried to make it sound like it was some fucking nefarious thing. Look, man, if in case you're not aware of it, branding is a real fucking science, and the people who professionally do marketing work, not even the top tier guys, the mid tier guys, the top tier guys know a lot of shit about human behavior. The mid tier guys do too. We're at a point, where corporate America knows that under 6 months, an infant can distinguish between the Coca-Cola brand logo and the Pepsi brand logo at 3-4 months old. They know there's a differentiation. By 6 months old, the average infant can express a desire for one or the other, Coke or Pepsi. It's the whole reaching out to grab it. It's the whole pushing away thing. They can differentiate between which one they prefer at 6 months old. Marketing fucking people know this shit. That's why you have to pay attention to advertisements, because they know how to push you down the path to wanting what they have. So NTFG-SFW, all 22 subscribers and 3 videos, is labeled as satire and irony. Satire and irony. We repeat, satire and irony with critical analysis. Like, satire and irony work well in the data collection that they're doing because, and look, we're talking about art today. This type of marketing is very artistic. It's very artistic. The results that come out of this rely on graphics, big splash and wow presentations, or presentations that are just flatline. One way to differentiate yourself in a crowd of commotion is to flatline it and be the dude that stands fucking still, because it's not always about the splash, the wow, and the firework display. It's about getting your thing recognized. And if there's a fuck ton of commotion in this clamorous space for recognition, sometimes the best thing you can do to differentiate yourself is shut your fucking mouth and stand still. So NTFG.SFW or -SFW is satire and irony, satire and irony. We repeat, satire and irony with critical analysis. So, I don't understand. It's probably because I'm a philosophy minor. Probably because I have a philosophy minor to go with my finance degree, and because the philosophy minor is geared toward philosophy of art. There's a great writing out there. The author is Susan Langer. If anyone's interested in the art world, it's called Feeling and Form. And I do believe that you can get a PDF of it online free if anybody's interested in reading that. It's a very good piece. And it does make the argument in the piece that all works of art have cultural ownership to them, because minus the culture, minus the support network that enables art to happen, the art either won't happen, or the art that happens will be radically different if you took the same artist and they were raised in a completely different culture. One of the great examples of it is the tea ceremony in Zen in Asia. The highest artistic expression of the tea ceremony is the closest imitation to the original tea ceremony. Like, it's not creativity and innovation that's being recognized and acknowledged as superior in the Asian culture. It's conformity to the replication identically of the original. That's not in the Western culture. That's not what's rewarded at all. In fact, in the Western culture, that would be considered almost plagiarism, and almost, you know, copying by imitation, you know, you taking someone else's thing. So here it's poo-pooed. In the East, it's recognized as, you know, top tier achievement. That's why when you look at things like a fair use, you can use someone else's artistic work as long as you transform it. We don't want to see, in the West, we don't want to see imitations. We don't want to see copies. We want to see uniqueness. That's why parody works so well in the Western world. I believe, yes, dear Mod, that Susan Langer was. It's a great piece if you've never read it. Another philosophy of art piece I would recommend. I would definitely recommend that everybody read at least the preface to Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy from the Spirit of Music, which if you buy that book, it's like 150 pages. It's not a long read, but if you start clearing the underbrush, you'll start to figure out how dense that short work actually is. Nietzsche's Birth of Tragedy from the Spirit of Music and from the Untimely Meditations by Nietzsche, which I think it's a collection of essays, and it's titled differently depending on how the translator translated the German title into English. I know it as Untimely Meditations. There are, I think, some titles that are Thoughts Out of Time, you know, that kind of translational derivation. But inside that is an essay called The Uses and Disadvantages of History. And I think the way Nietzsche expressed how history can be used positively and how history can literally become a stifling anchor around the necks of citizens. It's well, if you're interested in art, if you're interested in history, the Uses and Disadvantages of History is a great piece to read. But the British, I believe he was an epistemologist, David Hume, wrote a piece, and I don't know why. I always draw a blank on this fucking title. I'll let that go. It'll come back to me in a minute or two. Diarmid Costello says, "Oh man, I'm a nerd." Well, you got some pretty good art pieces from what I've seen for a fucking nerd, Diarmid. Art and music were the first forms of communication. You know, they liken the bees send out scouts. Bees send out a beehive, honeybees will send out bees to collect pollen and nectar from flowers. They also send out scout bees to look for new finds, new discoveries of fresh bloom. When the bee comes back to the hive, it does this whole intricate dance, which communicates to the rest of the hive where the raw materials to make the honey and the royal jelly are. And it's all done by a dance. It's weird to watch it happen. The bee kind of counterclockwise or clockwise circles. It beats its wings. The vibrations change. It's like a whole thing. But they liken tribal dancing to that communication. Like what the bee's communicating to the rest of the hive is the abundance of bloom, the distance away, all the information needed to get there and back. Because a bee, if you ever see a stranded bee that's on the ground, buzzing around, can't get the flight, put a little sugar water in a soda bottle cap, or better yet, the metal cap, because it's a little smaller. Put a little sugar water in, put it down next to the bee. The bee will drink that water up and it'll take right off. What happened was the bee will only take enough sugar, eat enough sugar to get to, this is why the communication of where, how far, all the rest of that in the little bee dance is so important, because the bee will only eat enough to have enough energy to get there and back. So if you ever see a stranded bee, help it out. Give it a little sugar water. Anthropologists liken tribal dancing to the same type of communication, where hunt is before language developed, as Diarmid said. Dance is early form of communication. The abundance of game, where the game's located, the distance, that's all in those dance steps. So I think Diarmid is very correct in his observation. Carte Blanche has joined us. Says, good day, Coded. You can be evasive, yet I'm here. Right now, there's only one place to check for me. Make sure you're subscribed. You should get it. And turn on that notification thing. We are taking advantage of the current situation to help build up the NTFG SFW. I will, when we go back to Coded Friend, I will continue to do things over here. I'd like to get Shiz to see if I could get Shiz to host one or two over here, or even Platoon Hard Drive. Just do a standalone, whatever, half an hour, 1 hour, do a live or do a pre-presented thing. Either one doesn't matter to me. We have 8 whole listeners. We are building. We're growing. Last time we only had 5. We got 8 now. It's glad to have everybody here. Hey, if anybody sees Laura Rader, give her the link to NTFG SFW. Let her know we're going to be over here for a little bit. Delete Lips says Shiz and Josh smoked out would be great. I think I would look. I want to desperately at this point in time, with where Platoon Hard Drive is and the quality of the Memento Mori series. Right now, I want to fucking just sit down and have an hour conversation with Josh, like the old coded conversations we used to do. I got way off track here, so let me see if I can pull myself back on track. Wow, an hour and 22 already. It's going by fast. So, the Fraudit Reaper thing and Shiz. I like Shiz. I've always liked Shiz. Shiz's fucking giggle got me right off the rip. Like from the thing I remember about Shiz and probably will never forget is that fucking giggle. That giggle is it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And in fact, I gotta go find a nice, clean, spontaneous giggle by Shiz from the old broadcasts to add to my little intro thing. Josh's laugh is definitely going to be in there. Like I envisioned something like Merb doing the "Bring on the Pain," Josh laughing hysterically, and then tailing it out with a Shiz giggle. I think that might make a nice, unique opener for the NTFG SFW channel. Dearmid says it says infectious. I would believe that's a reference to Shiz's giggle. It definitely is infectious. It makes me feel good. I don't know why. That Shiz giggle makes me feel good. I like that giggle. I can't explain to you why it makes me feel good. All I can tell you is the truth is when I hear Shiz giggle like that, I feel good. My guard drops. I feel a little relaxed. It's the whole idea that, hey, there's fun in the room. Everybody else in here might be overly serious, acting like a shithead, throwing accusations around, blah, 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 whether they're true or false or whatever. And then you get a giggle from Shiz and you're like, oh, yeah, this isn't so fucking serious. It's kind of like Josh's realization this is all entertainment. And I think to a large degree, this is predominantly entertainment. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from it. That doesn't mean truth can't be communicated in the entertainment bubble. And it definitely, just because it's entertainment, it doesn't mean you have a license to fucking lie, especially if they're material lies. And especially if the lies are to deceive people. I mean, I like the fact that nothing I've done or the people I'm associated with on YouTube, nothing any of us ever has done has been associated with money. I don't do the super chat. And if people don't like me for that, fuck yeah, I don't care. I don't do the super chat. I don't do the donation thing, and there's a reason for that. I don't ask anyone to give me anything. Or the only thing I'm asking for monetarily, money, material things, I'm not asking for that from anyone. I don't want it. I don't need it. If Dan was as wealthy as he says he is, you know, why are you breaking the law running shitty little grifter lotteries? Buy a ticket from me, see if you win. I mean, if your content had value, you wouldn't have to do that shit. But your content obviously doesn't have value. Now, mock how few people subscribe to me and how many subscribe to you. Go ahead, because that's going to be your initial thought. Well, you don't get anyone to listen to you. I don't want the fucking people you have listening to you. I don't want people that are not, they're here to buy a raffle ticket. I don't fucking want that. I don't want the people that, yeah, because, you know, if you poo-poo the shit or tell the truth about anything, your ticket might get removed from the raffle drawing bin. Hey, money just fucks shit up. Right. Here's Dearmid Costello. And this is satire and irony. This is the parody part. This is the mocking part. Dearmid Costello says, I'm short $1 million for a car. Anyone want to give it to me? Yeah. Has anyone ever seen a receipt proving that, like, they did the fundraiser for the charity that 22 veterans commit suicide on a daily basis? And they openly admitted that they did it. Dan said with his own mouth, did it to promote the channel. Did anyone ever see receipts on the donation of that money? Right? Right? Because it seems to me that Dan learned from Chili, and Dan is employing Chili DeCastro, delete laws style, grifter, begathon nonsense. Dermot Costello follows up and says, well, I need the million. The car is only $15K, but I can soup it up with the extra money. Yeah, that's the whole fucking thing. Delete Lips says, telling ridiculous lies isn't entertaining, but calling out those lies is. It actually is. It actually is. And the whole idea that some schmarmy, pretentious, elitist, Welsh, ugly fucking Welsh dude sitting in a shuffling in fucking sliders in a convalescent home. Because that room you're in, Dan, it's not a residential room. That's an institutional room. Just knowing that he's fucking just biting his own teeth in anger while I expose his shitty little grifting, like the griftathon for the legal funds. You weren't able to raise any money, and suddenly the whole defamation lawsuit against Chili turns out was just talk. In fact, I was reviewing some clips last night at work, and on the very next day, Dan actually says, regarding the defamation lawsuit against Chili, he actually says, if we do that thing. So overnight, it went from a definite, the listeners want us to do this. This will put a stop to Chili. We have to stop Chili. And the very next fucking day, it's if we do this. They do. The Snooze Network does this shit all the time. They talk big, and then they never fucking follow through. Never follow through. And then they just ignore the fact that they ever said it and act like it never fucking happened. It's crazy. That's why Josh Stone Vet is laughing at you so fucking hard. Because you're pretty fucking transparent, Denny. Delete Lip says, Coded, you were on it as soon as that legal fund super chat came through. It was beautiful. It was. You know what, though? I may have been able to hit him harder and expose him if I had. It was a snap decision. If I let the grift run, I would have been able to prove that they ran a grift. Because Dan's not filing this fucking lawsuit. He's not filing it because there are no fucking damages. So it's all cost. It's all cost to win a judgment that has no. If what Chili said was defamatory, he called Dan a liar. Dan may or may not have been lying. If Dan wasn't lying, then it's a defamatory statement. You got to be able to prove fucking damages, though. Otherwise, you're literally paying to get a piece of paper that says you win, and it's all cost to you. That's why this lawsuit was never going to fucking happen. It was a grift to get legal fee donations, in my opinion. I'm 100% convinced that my opinion is correct. Now, if he gets off his fucking ass and does something he says he's going to do and actually files a defamation lawsuit and gets to the point where it's in a courtroom in front of a judge, I'll eat my slice of crow pie and I'll apologize for this statement. That I am 100% correct in my opinion. It's my opinion that I'm 100% correct in my opinion that Dan was running a legal grift, a grift for legal fees. And I did. You could go back and listen to that 44 minutes of absolute beauty. And the most beautiful parts are the several times where there's not a fucking word being said because I shut the fucking mouths of that entire panel. Dermot said, I didn't like him, Dan, from the start. I stopped coming here when Dan and Hank were here. I got a lot of feedback. Nobody shit on Dan or Hank, but just the feedback I was getting from people were like, you gotta go back to being alone. You're funnier when you're alone. You're faster when you're alone. You're sharper when you're alone. You hit harder when you're alone. I mean, having Hank around did make it easier for me to read the chats and interact, draw the audience into the conversation and participation. But everybody was giving the same feedback. Nobody was saying, hey, I love it now that you added Hank. And nobody was saying, hey, it's even better now that you got Hank and Dan. Nobody was fucking saying that. Rebel at Heart says the Dearmid, I almost left when Hank showed every day. Yeah. That's the kind of feedback I was getting from people. So, and looking back on it too, there's neither Hank nor Dan brought anything to the partnership. Us, the three of us working together, communicating together. Not that we had any formal arrangement, but neither of them brought anything to the table that I didn't have already. They brought nothing of value beyond the value I already had. So now I've distracted myself several times from this, and we're now an hour and 36 minutes into the period. All right, I'll get distracted one more time. Delete Lips says, I can't stand hearing Hank raising his voice, talking over everyone, and trying to sound like a tough guy. Yeah, he's not tough at all. Oh, and Hank, the 1860s called. They want their fucking beard back. You're not a member of ZZ Top. Get a clean fucking shave, dude. Take a shower, wash your hair, get a clean shave, wash up the funk zones, and go outside and fucking socialize. You look like a fucking hermit. Dearmid Costello says, you can almost see the cringe in Dan when they say Jelly God. I don't know about that, man, because who the first one to say Jelly God was? It's Dan. Dan put the God title on Dan. And when they all started saying it, oh, Dan, I think just the God part, I think Dan really enjoys that, they refer to him as a God. That's what Dan wants. I mean, wouldn't you literally, if you had the janitorial services contract for the home office and you were around all these powerful people that garnered respect? I mean, that's what Dan wants. He sees it all day long, but, he's just the guy with the fucking extra roll of toilet paper and a fucking plunger. So he comes on the internet and pretends to be a contractor with the home office. And I could tell you what I do, but then I'd have to kill you. That kind of fucking bullshit. My contact at the FBI. I'm going to throw the home secretary out the fucking window. I mean, what kind of fucking loon says shit like that? Really? If you were in the same building as the home secretary on a regular basis and you said out loud on the internet that you were going to throw the home secretary out the fucking window, dude, you can cry hyperbole and joke all you fucking want. If anybody in the security group at in the home office heard you fucking say that, you would not be coming in the fucking building ever again. So maybe, Danny, maybe that's why you're, locked up in a room that no one can see you in the day you were supposed to meet with the fucking home secretary. Maybe there never was a meeting that day. Maybe you're the only one that thought you were going to meet with the home secretary. And maybe when you went there, Dan, maybe you got escorted out of the fucking room. Because weren't you supposed to come to the U.S. on some private jet tour right after that meeting with the home secretary? All that big talk, Dan, all that big talk. You can get a $50 super chat or $100 super. You could throw a few of those around. But all the fucking big talk, to $10K for a fight, the $40K for the legal fees to help out so-and-so, the donated money to the Opal Sloan, go Lainey Hudson, go fund. It never fucking materializes. But meanwhile, Dan, and your excuse for not, giving the large sum of money you were claiming you were going to give to the mother of Lainey Hudson, your excuse is, well, at the time we didn't know the truth. Once we found out the truth, and then Hank's doing well, if it wasn't for me waiting for funds to clear, you're illiquid. You have no fucking money. You're waiting on a check. You're illiquid at that point in time. It's fucking bullshit. If I would have given if the funds were available. You sound like you're on the fucking dole, dude. You sound like you're on the fucking dole waiting on a fucking government support check, which is probably why you're sitting in your house on the fucking internet all fucking day long. So I know I'm going tangential again. I'm not on my main target, but we'll get back to that in a second. All these big promises, all this shit, and you never fucking come through. The Opal Hudson thing, Lainey Hudson's mom, the GoFundMe. Well, once we knew the truth, we didn't, we weren't going to give them any money. But before you knew the truth, you put up there, you did a whole fucking broadcast where you put up their GoFundMe, posted the link, and encouraged your listeners to donate. If you're at the fucking Welsh News Network, if you're in the listening audience and you don't understand yet that Dan was using you to give donations to the Lainey Hudson GoFundMe thing as bait to get Opal Sloan on his broadcast, if you don't understand how you got fucking used there, you're just going to get continually fucking used. Dan never gave any money. His listeners gave money. Dan never gave any money. Hank never gave any money. They got convenient excuses, and then, we're not, this is my excuse why I didn't give at the moment when we were running a broadcast encouraging our listeners to give. Here's the fucking bullshit reason why I didn't give. And now that I know the truth, I'd be crazy to give. But you encouraged all your fucking people to give. And you could say, we said you do what you want. You make up your own. You facilitated it. You put the fucking link up. You green-lighted the fucking giving to what we now know are fucking con men. Dan, you lack simple discernment. I understand why you can't read for comprehension, to comprehend what's being said to you, because you fucking misstate written information all the time. You can't see. You couldn't see right from the rip that Lainey Hudson's mother and aunt were running a fucking con. But you were going to save them from Chili DeCastro. They used Chili the same way they used you, Dan. You didn't save anyone from anyone. You never had a shot at saving anyone from anyone. They were there to use you to get donations, and You did it. You did it. You put their fucking GoFundMe link up and you didn't tell people not to. You told people, oh, you make your decision. But the way you're talking and the fact that you're facilitating it looks like you approve of it. Because I wouldn't put a fucking link up. Fucking dear, man. Hang on, I'll put that one up. Delete Lips says Dan is the same as Chili in the grifter category. He's just not as good as Chili is at the game. Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that 100%. Dan is a grifter, same as Chili is a grifter. Your opinion, I agree with your opinion. My opinion is Dan's a grifter just like Chili's a grifter. Only Chili is better at the grift game than Dan. Did you hear that, Dan? Chili's better at it than you are. Way fucking better at it than you are. Diarmid Costello says they're trying to find a pea small enough for his brain transplant. Well, that would explain why he's been in the hospital so fucking long. Rebel says you can't ask Hank to shave. His next meal is in that beard. Oh, that's fucking nasty. It probably is, dude. It might not be his next meal. It might be the dog's next meal. Because somehow, like, I get the impression that the dog is Hank's hygiene. Walter Texas says, delete Lips. Chili is the king, in his humble opinion. King of the grift. He's really fucking good at it, man. But, you know, Chili likes to go around saying he's a fundraiser, blah, blah, blah. He's, you know, got all this experience in fundraising. Conning and grifting is not fundraising. It's thieving. Chili. You should get up to speed on that one. All right, so let me get back on topic here. And I don't have anything to do today, so we can hang out for a while. Let me get this out. Then I'll play the intro song again. You guys can vote on one or two, which picture you like better. Oh, what? Do y'all remember those bugs crawling through You Have Rights, Cops Have Duties beard? I was so creeped out when I saw that. I'd never caught that, but now I'm going to have to fucking look at that. No. Hank is the one with the dog. GIF, I don't know. Hank is the one with the dog with the glasses on, and then occasionally it's Hank with the fucking ZZ Top beard. Ugh. Yeah, thank God I don't remember that one. If you want to shoot me a link for that, let me know. Delete Lips. I'd really like to take a look at that. Get a little zoom in. Carte Blanche says, Dan is not hospitalized. He's just hiding. You know, I got to agree with that. I really have to agree with that. I totally have to agree with that. Who's in the fucking hospital for 8 fucking weeks? It's just way too crazy that Dan was hospitalized, quote unquote, hospitalized on the exact same day that he was supposed to meet with the Home Secretary after making public comments on YouTube that he was going to throw the fucking Home Secretary out the window. And the Home Secretary is female, by the way. You know, so Dan said if anyone ever fucked with his kid, he would slit their throat. I mean, Dan, I'll tell you what, Dan. I'll stand in the middle of an open parking lot and see if you have the fucking balls to get within 10 feet of me. Because I don't think you do. I really don't. Well, I'll meet you on the open 10th floor of a building, and we'll see if you can throw me out the fucking window, Dan. Because you can't. You can't. Because you're impotent. Impotent. That's what the whole vegetable medley thing is about. You're impotent. You got to use a mechanical device or, something out of the produce drawer in the refrigerator. You can't do the blue pill because you got the bad heart. You impotent. You're impotent. You're weak. You're a frou-frou that just talks fucking shit all the time. You talk about how tough you are. You're not tough. You tell other people's stories the same way Blue Bacon does, like they were your own. Now let's get into the topic. So Shiz was getting into it over, helping consumer advocacy. She's looking into a discrepancy between Frauditor Reaper and an individual who purchased product from Frauditor Reaper, who never got the product she purchased and never got a refund from Frauditor Reaper. The individual that got ripped off, allegedly, by Frauditor Reaper is not getting remedy. So that individual went to Shiz. Other people complained to Shiz. Shiz, the good person that she is, the kind-hearted soul that she is, wanted to get the correct information and assist in the remedy of the problem. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. While looking into that stuff, Shiz finds out that Frauditor Reaper has a bit of a rap sheet. She got a little background. She, doing some of the same shit that she wags her little finger at other people for doing. And then I think that the strangest thing was that this whole Frauditor Reaper thing and Shiz's conclusions, I'm not on anyone's side on this. I was just, Shiz gave me a heads up on some hanky shit that was going on, and more because it was revolving around the Jeremiah Payne fucking fiasco blow up thing. And that's when the whole Jeremiah Payne thing went down, that, people were pushing that shit too far. Which when I say it, it's a terrible thing. But if Dan says it, and wags his finger at the people he wants to blame for it, it's okay. But God forbid you point your finger at one of Dan's people, then how dare you accuse? So, Shiz uncovered the fact that I thought Frauditor Reaper was married and that her move from Florida to where she is in Texas was, a family move. The husband, her pre-existing child, or her child with him. It's confusing. It's hard to figure out. So Shiz, Frauditor Reaper had in the past auctioned off a painting, which I believe is entitled Derpy Skyline Jesus. And, someone paid money and bought it, one of Frauditor Reaper's listeners. And as Shiz was looking into the t-shirt thing, she uncovered the fact that the, look, I work in the hospitality industry, right? $40. It's not worth getting into it with a fucking customer. $40. You didn't get your t-shirt? Here's your $40 back. I shipped the shirt. If it happens to show up and you think it's fair that you pay for the shirt, send me back the 40. If you don't, you don't. It's no big deal. This one's on me. Sorry about the inconvenience. That is the fucking way you handle that shit. Because any other way of handling it means you have an unhappy customer. Over $40. Over 40. You're selling t-shirts for $40 fucking dollars. There's some markup in there. So you got to eat a little of your profit to make sure that your customer's happy. But then you find out, Shiz finds out this one person might be the only one that ordered a t-shirt. And the 40 that the buyer sent isn't going for the production of the t-shirt, the shipping cost, and then whatever profits left over the producer takes, which is fair. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is the customer didn't get the t-shirt and they're not getting their $40 back. And then it's looking like the reason why the customer's not getting the $40 back is because the $40 has already been spent. There is no $40 to give back. That's a little thing called misappropriation of funds. You received funds to purchase a t-shirt. There are costs involved with that: printing the t-shirt, packaging the t-shirt, shipping the t-shirt. Those are the costs. Whatever is left over is your profit on the venture. You're entitled to keep your profits. But if you use that money to pay the electric bill or to buy food for your family, you misappropriated the funds. You haven't delivered the t-shirt yet, which means there are no profits yet, which means that money should be held in case a refund is asked for, so the money's there to give back. Now, if you have a zero refund policy, then clearly state you have a zero refund policy and, be the kind of douchebag that doesn't give people their money back when you fail to fucking deliver. But that's on you. So, if you're going to run a business, run a business. If you're not running a business, it's a fucking scam. It's grifting. It's a scam. If you're not running a legit business the way a legit business is to be run, then it's a fucking scam. If you received $40 for a t-shirt that you haven't yet delivered, then the revenue is not earned. You have to categorize it and account for it as unearned revenue until the shirt is produced and delivered. Then you have to allocate the costs, and the little bit that's left over, that's your profit. So, Frauditer Reaper is not a business person. She is not running a business. She's just running a fucking cash funnel. So I got the impression listening to Frauditer Reaper's broadcasts, which I was doing long before I had a working relationship, a conversation with Shiz. I knew of Frauditer Reaper. I listened to her broadcasts. I always got the impression that her husband was there with her. Yeah. When Shiz finds out that the husband's in jail on a sentence of capital murder, kind of makes the finger wagging and oh, what a terrible person Chili Castro is. Oh, what a terrible person Jeremiah Payne is. You're selling art to your anti-fraud, anti-misdemeanor crime audience. You're selling art to them that's produced for your profit. You're selling art to them that's produced by a person who's incarcerated for murder, and you don't disclose that? They don't disclose that. It would have been smart to disclose that up front, because then you wouldn't be in the fucking mess you're in now. Because now you look like a bullshit artist. Now you look like you're willing to lie and deceive for the almighty greenback. And that, Frauditor Reaper, is what makes you an attractive ally in this Welsh News Network. You're willing to lie for money, Reaper. You're willing to deceive people for money, Reaper. You're willing to take payment for merchandise and spend the entirety of the money before delivering the merchandise, knowing you have no money to take care of the cost of the merchandise. You perfect for Dan. You're perfect for the Welsh News Network. So when all of that shit with Jeremiah Payne blew up and the blowback was coming for a lot of Welsh News Networks behind the scenes allies, which of farts, Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter, Frauditor Reaper, other people also. Dan had to find someone to dump all the fucking blame on. Falcax, Fraudit Wrangler, Corrections 101. A deal was made with Fraudit Wrangler and Falcax by Dan that he would leave them alone. Leave them alone. If those two, Falcax and Fraudit Wrangler, were willing to take a look into codedfriend.001. You see how that works? You see how that works? It's not about the truth. It's about Dan leveraging. It's not about Dan getting to the truth. That's blackmail, Danny boy. That's blackmail and extortion. Danny boy. Oh, we have dirt on you. We're not going to expose you. But in return for that, we need you to find dirt on that guy for us. That's blackmail, Dan. That's blackmail. That's extortion. You're a shitty person, Dan. You do shitty things. And you think you do them in the dark where nobody can see them. It's amazing how I put zero effort into uncovering what you're doing. And it's all being laid out in front of me and exposed to me, Dan. Who do you think's responsible for that, Dan? The hidden things of this world shall be revealed. You don't get it, Dan. You work in the dark, you work in the dark. I work for the light. That means we can see you. That means the Almighty can see you and will reveal you. I don't even have to fucking try. It comes to me, the revealing of who you are and what you do. So you call Shiz a fucking idiot because she asked Reaper for receipts so that Shiz could help mediate a resolution that was beneficial. And you called Shiz a fucking idiot? And I'm watching you do it, Dan, because the Almighty wants, I believe, for your bullshit to be brought into the light. Hello, Adam McGuire. So I'm watching Shiz, and I'm watching the fucking little simps, the little simps with their fucking sock accounts and person after person. You're all fucking cowards. You're all fucking cowards. Dan, you implement the fucking sock account attack, same as anyone else. Same as the fucking stoned vet reaction to your fucking virtue signaling, finger wagging, berating of Corrections 101, the hysterical fucking laughter that came out of Stoned Vet, and the fact that all the shit that you created a false identity and blah, 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 and Josh is just rolling, fucking laughing. And when he's done laughing, he goes, yeah, basically, he created a sock account. You fucking do it too, Dan. Your little minions fucking do it too. That's why there's so much focus on outing people and getting at their real identity, because both sides of the equation is employing sock accounts to harass people. You do it, Dan. Your little group is developing an expertise in it. And now that Shiz is exposing people in your group, Frauditor Reaper, that grift, now that Corrections 101, now that it's getting pretty clear that you're trying to use him as a scapegoat and a fall guy for the actions. Look, Witch of Heart and Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter were as much involved with Corrections 101 while he was doing the very things that you're wagging your little finger at him for, because what you're afraid of, Dan, what Witch of Farts and Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter, what they're so afraid of with Corrections 101 is Corrections 101 knows the identity of both of them. And they're running around, oh, we can't have our identities exposed. Why? Because that makes it harder to be a bitch ass, pillow biting fucking liar? Marco? Is that why? Oh, you were deceived because he used a sock account. You do that shit on a fucking daily basis, you little pillow biter. I'm Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter. I don't want people to know my real name because it could jeopardize, it could bring me into conflict in with moral and ethical aspects, for my probably will never happen law career. I know who you are, dude. I know your name. I know your fucking name. You, Mark Pillow Biter. I didn't get it from Corrections 101 either, bro. I know your fucking name. I know Witch of Tart's name. I know the fucking school she works at. I know. I know Blue Bear's name. I know Blue Bear's name. I know where Monticello, Kentucky is. I know Blue Bear's last name is similar to a very famous comedian who is now deceased, his last name. And I know Blue Bear's first name is a name that a boy or a girl could have. So what you're so fucking afraid of, I know. Maybe I wake up one morning and I'm just tired of you running amok and employing the very tactics that you point at the other side and say, how dare they? Oh, how dare they? You do the same shit. You know you do the same shit. You're a grifter. You're here for money, and you're only here for money. You're only here for money, Danny. You're only here for money, witch of farts. You're only here for money, Mark the sarcastic pillow biter. You're only here for money. And Dan is saying, or Corrections 101, you are not a part of this community. Yeah, what does that mean, Dan? He won't simp for you? Good on him. Good on him. I'm not a fan of Corrections 101. There's shade on him, and there's time needs to go by to actually experience his behaviors and see the fruits of his works. I'm not a big fan of him, mostly because of his past, but he can overcome that. He can overcome that by walking the straight and narrow and dedicating himself to telling the truth. You, Dan, you can't do that. You're unable to tell the fucking truth. You have Chili's fucking dog, which Becca's friend picked up from the Humane Society, from the shelter. There is no fucking reason to lie about that. A lie you easily got caught in, and that makes you, Becca, that makes you a fucking liar. And that makes you a petty liar. If you're willing to lie about such a shitty, petty little fucking thing, that you're the savior, you're the hero that saved Charlie. If you're so willing to lie about such a petty thing, that means everything up the spectrum is game for you to fucking lie about. I learned this lesson while I was a broker. I'm a thief. I'm a thief. I will steal. Everyone. Nobody can say no. Nobody can say no. I've never stolen anything in my life, and I would never steal anything. Are you the kind of dickhead that takes a pen and a pad of paper home from work because you're too lazy to, not because you don't have the money for it, because you're too lazy to stop and take the time to buy it for yourself? So you clip it from work. It happens all the fucking time. Everyone steals. So I don't understand why people get a fucking, highfalutin attitude of themselves. I'm a thief. I'm a thief. I'm a thief. I'm a thief. And I know my fucking price. That's the problem with thieves and thievery. Most thieves don't know their fucking price. Right? When I had nothing but bills to pay, college tuition, I had a job, but I didn't have no fucking money because I was paying bills, right? If you left $50,000 on the fucking kitchen table and said, hey, man, I got to run and get a pack of cigarettes. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Do you take the fucking money? I wouldn't. If someone left $100,000 on the fucking table, cash, I'm running out, get a pack of cigarettes, 5 minutes, I'll be back. Do you take the fucking money? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. If you left $1 million on that fucking table and said you were going to get a pack of cigarettes, you would never see me or that million ever again. Never. Because I know my fucking price. You're not going to label me a thief over 50K. You're not going to label me a thief over 100K. But for $1 million, I can buy a 30-year government bond, get 8% interest, get $80,000 a year interest income. Bye-bye. You're never going to fucking see me again. I'll take that $1 million. I know my price. Why would you lie? Why would you be labeled a fucking liar over a statement that your friend picked up Chili's dog in Vegas from the animal shelter, and you have Charlie and Charlie safe. Why would you allow yourself to tell that fucking lie and be labeled as a liar for such a petty, premeditated? That's not spontaneous. That's premeditated. So you would lie for a sliver of internet notoriety. It's not even internet fame. You have internet fame now. The lie only garnered you a little, oh, Beck is great for what? 10 minutes? Now you're famous for being a fucking liar over something that benefited you in no fucking way beyond 5 minutes. There's an art to lying, and thankfully, no one at the Snooze Network has a fucking clue about the art of lying. At very best, you flim-flam. Flim-flam. And you call Shiz a fucking idiot. Call Shiz a fucking idiot. She's smart enough to see through you and connected enough to know the instant you said it behind her back in the dark where you wouldn't think anyone would know about it, in fucking less than 10 seconds, Shiz was aware of what you said. Your own tight inner circle rats you out. All right, I'm going to replay the earlier tune, the intro tune. 1, first picture 1, second picture 2. Vote for the one you like better. And we'll see what happens. We'll maybe add it up as the backdrop. Although I have an idea what I want. I'm going to talk to the artist about it. I'm going to slip out for a quick smoke. I'm going to give you Led Zeppelin In the Light one more time. I will be back in just a moment. And we will talk a little bit about the, an example of real art that's going on the, in the YouTubeverse. I'm going to coin that. The YouTubeverse. Oh, I forgot to tell. Our boy Princess Z, the Zetetic Warrior, has returned to the scene after he encouraged, not figuratively, but literally encouraged individuals to unalive themselves to specific people, and got his account suspended for a bit. He is now back in broadcasting, so we'll have some shit to say about that dumb motherfucker in the near future. Here we go. A little Merb intro, Led Zeppelin, and I will be right back. You need to have a smoke.
Well done on the WNN video. Oh yeah, I saw that video. How does anybody watch that slobbering idiot? WNN. Like, the guy's he's a documented liar. Get ready for the pain.
your wheels sinking low. Just believe, and you can't go wrong. In the light, you will find the road. You will find the road. Hey, ooh, did you ever believe that I could leave you standing out in the cold? Hey, yeah, baby, I know how it feels 'cause I have slipped through to the very depths of my soul, yeah. Oh, oh, baby, I just wanna show you what it gives you. The kiss from every bend in the road. Now listen. Oh, whoa, whoa. As I was relieved before you too, honey, as you would for me. Oh, I will share your love. Let me share your love. Ooh, let me share your love. Everybody needs a light. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, baby. Everybody, everybody, everybody.
And we're back. I think the Led Zeppelin in the Light tune, I think it really complements these two paintings. I am getting more partial to the second one. At first, I liked the first one better, but I think the second one's growing on me a bit. All right, we've been a little heavy for the first 2.5 hours. Let's get into a little bit of the hilarity. This piece by Josh is just fucking amazing. Memento Mori number 79. The Home Office Caretaker is the title by Stone Vet. Let me get that queued up. There's definitely a part of it I want to take a peek at, and then we'll call it a wrap for the day. Where is that? What did I do with that? Where did we go? There we are. Slide that over here. Kick that down. 614. Bring that bad boy up. Put a 1 in the chat if you've listened to the last few Memento Mori series. We're going to start with just Josh's sense of humor. I really appreciate. He's got a crazy good sense of humor. I mean, stand-up comedy. Josh could do it. I'd love to see Josh hit an open mic. Delete Lips and Diarmid Costello are voting for the first picture. It looks like Walter Texas is partial to number 2. And he says of the second photo, second painting, yes, this one seems to evoke some emotion. That's what I want. Oh, wait, Delete Lips says no, the second pick. You're confusing me, Delete Lips. 1 or 2? Clarify. When it comes to art, paintings especially, statues also, you should spend time with the piece. I mean, you should give it an honest 5 to 10 minutes. And like Walter Texas commented, he didn't put his finger on the actual emotion, but he did indicate that he was having an emotional response to it. That's what you want to do with art. You want to sit, you want to still yourself. You want to sit and just view the piece. You want to try to, as best you can, become one with the work of art, and then you want to become aware, self-aware of the effect that the work of art is having on you. There was I forget who the artist is, but it's just a painting. It's blue. It's a block of blue color. I think the title of the work is Study in Blue. I'm not 100% sure, but I never understood that painting. Like, to me, it was kind of a joke, like maybe the artist was getting over or having a bit of fun with his audience. But when I studied philosophy of art and I was brought to the understanding that, with these works of art, you should spend time gazing upon them, and over a 5, 10, 20 minute, 30-minute period, you should jot down notes on how the work of art is affecting your mood, your emotion. There are quite a few works of art that trouble me when I look at them for a long period of time, and I always try to figure out what it is about the painting that's causing this feeling of troubledness. But I didn't understand the study in blue until I literally sat with it for about a half an hour, 45 minutes in a museum setting, and took notes on how it was affecting me. It made me feel very calm, very relaxed. And I think when I walked away from the painting, I had a joyful experience just on the color blue. And from that point forward, like, I had a whole new appreciation of not only art, but the impact art can have on the viewer. I think prior to that, I was a bit superficial in, what I did and didn't like about art. Mostly it had to have an awe. It had to give me a feeling of awe, which, paintings rarely did, or it had to entertain me in some sort of way. And I got beyond the simple entertainment aspect of art. I really began to develop an appreciation of art. I talked about this the other day. My first real experience with an artistic work was at a very young age, and it's Starry Night. And if I was being exiled to a desert island, secluded, by myself, and I could take 4 works of art with me, I could only take 4. Starry Night would be one of the works I would take with me. Georgia O'Keeffe's Rabbit and Pot would be another one. I don't know why, but there's a real beauty in that painting. We looked at it before on the codedfriend.001 channel. The name of it escapes me, but I believe it's Michelangelo's carving in marble of Mary holding the dead body of Christ in her embrace, in her lap. Has always had a profound effect on me. I don't know at this point in time what the 4th work would be, but I like the fact that that's still open. All right, let's get out of the heavy and into the fun part of this broadcast. Josh's this opener is just fantastic.
This episode, I told you I wasn't going to monetize, but this episode is brought to you by.
All right, so he's mocking the whole monetize thing. He's going to claim that Smart Water, if he could just get 2 more listeners or 3 more listeners per episode, that Smart Water's got him. But this is so how not you do it. The bottle's upside down, which would drive the fucking Smart Water company marketing guys fucking batshit. Although it works. It made me pay attention to the brand. So he's got it upside down. He's looking at it in the camera. He knows it's upside down. And he's just fucking not making any effort to fucking get the thing right, flip the bottle over. He's just running with it. I really got a kick out of this.
Smart Water. New sponsor. They were like, if you can get to 48 views, we got you, Josh. Jesus Christ.
They say I'm crazy, but I have a good time. I'm just looking for clues at the scene of the crime. Life's been good to me so far.
All right, so whatever the editing style he's using, I got to talk to him about it. Maybe I won't because I don't want to. I like it. I like the multiple versions of himself in the same time setting. The little bit of fogginess around the outside. He's playing Life's Been, and I know this was not something he intended to do, but he's playing Joe Walsh's Life's Been Good to Me so far as the intro. Life's Been Good. And he immediately, what we called growing up, Murph's on a bong hit. That's when you take so big a hit, you're coughing the shit up. You can't hold it down. So it's kind of playing on that Life's Been Good, and the idea for me here, whether he intended to communicate it or not, is that goodness of life can choke you up every once in a while. Here we go.
Woo! Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lordy, Lordy.
Like that was an overpowering bong hit. And Josh is a smoker. Like, it's not his first. This is a first time smoker thing. Everybody who takes their first bong hit rarely gets more than they can fucking handle. Josh is, an experienced smoker, and he's just ripping. Good job. But just look at the look on his face. Like he knows he just got a little bit more than he can handle. He likes the fact that happened. He gives the fist pump, and he's just, celebrating a little bit of overindulgence, a moment of overindulgence. I got a big kick out of it. See, so it's, sorry about the freeze face, Josh. So it's almost like he's realizing at the end of it that the little bit of overindulgence, like that the weed got the better of him on that one. And, he's still enjoying it, but he's coming back to being a little bit more serious here. Dearmid Costello pops in the chat that Josh is an artist. I agree 100%. I agree. Dearmid Costello says he took an hour to pack a cone in episode 79. Yeah, absolutely he did. Is this is 79? Yeah, this is 79. So through this whole thing, he'll have that half-pack cone with him. It almost makes you want to jump into the frame and be like, "Hey, man, let me finish that up for you. I want to smoke it with you. Let's get it rolled."
Damn. That was kind of quick. This shit is fucking strong.
Of course, he's right back at it again. And again, the way he edited that, it really makes it sound like there were 5 or 6 hits that went on here. It's only one, but we get the cough up Murph thing again. Anybody else would have edited this out or redone it so they didn't look. I mean, he looks like a first-time smoker. So, and anybody else would have edited this so that it looked like they had a little better handle on it. Even Delete Lips says it made me want to rip the bong. Yeah.
Fucking melted ice. Oh. Woo! Where's that water? Okay. Ugh. All right. First, let's see. I got. This is.
All right, so I don't
Decent
want to.
decency.
I don't
No
want to show
sense
his
of
whole
honor.
work. I do want to show this part though. So let me get queued up to where I
Which
want to
Hey, dudes will act with bacon. Fucking literally, how do you know? He says at one point, I'll play. I did want to play because actually I'll just play it because it was fucking funny to me. It's like, holy fuck. Oh, shit. All right, let's see. Okay, this is at the end. Listen how fucking traumatic Dan is. What are you a contractor for? At the home office. I mean, you're clearly not an analyst or a fucking legal authority, especially American. What do you do? I mean, nobody would care. You brought it up, though. You work at the home office. What do you do at the home office? Oh, you can't tell us. Is it top secret? I mean, the most hilarious thing is I probably work with more SAS dudes than you, too. Or definitely more grunts. No way the dude was a grunt. Then again, you two personalities have surprised the living shit out of me. I've been really burned with my jump to conclusions. It just amazes me. Military dudes will act with bacon, blind justice, the angry vet auditor, fuckstick, his little butt buddy, Lincoln Leonidas, or whatever the fuck.
All right, so right off the rip, first let me say, hey to Logan Sandman, good to see you, bro. Logan Sandman is another one who, experienced or was made aware of the experience of having Dan run around behind the scenes and fucking bullshit about you. All in my humble opinion, because Logan maybe hit on or made an inappropriate comment to Becca. I don't know how you could possibly make an inappropriate comment to Becca when every other guy on the panel there jests with her about, sexuality and her being a piece of meat to pleasure men. But she's a strong woman, though. But you sit there and let that shit go on. But if there are certain people who can say it to you and certain people who can't say it to you, then don't let it go on in fucking public, and you don't have to worry about people saying shit like that to you. Or if they do, then you can call it out as inappropriate. But it's really difficult to say it's inappropriate when you're allowing 7 to 8 other fucking men and random dudes from your fucking listening audience crack the same type of fucking jokes about you. So Josh, right off the rip, is, mocking himself for being too aggressive in the conclusions of his opinion regarding Blue Bacon, who I still to this day would say he's a fucking lying little douchebag who exaggerates everything he ever done. And the only thing look, Blue Bacon's service to the country was bullshit. It's so he could get fucking college money because he was at RIT. He was failing out, and Daddy told him, I'm not paying for your fucking school anymore. So his only option was the GI Bill or pay for it himself. And, Blue Bacon's the kind of guy who doesn't like to pay for his own shit. He'd rather have somebody else do it. So at a time when our military was actively engaged in warfare for a 20-year period, Blue Bacon somehow slides in and out of the military without ever seeing any combat experience, you're not a vet, Blue. You're not a vet. I've talked about you and your service to many military individuals in my family, male and female, and they all come to the same conclusion. You're just a pussy. You're just a pussy. And all of them said the same thing. They're very happy to find out you never were on a battlefield, because you would have got people fucking killed. Yeah, right. Diarmid Costello says Dana's going to expose Stone Vet. He will tell everyone his name and that he smokes weed. Right. The whole hit piece Dan did on Corrections 101. It's all information. Corrections 101 went over because someone doxed him. Someone previously had brought it all up, and he went through it and explained it. So, Dan's just the kind of guy that'll grab your fucking garbage can off the fucking street, bring it back in your house, and dump the fucking trash out on the living room floor and say, we need to sort through this fucking mess. What mess, Dan? The mess you fucking made? Douche.
It's just amazing to me that those dudes are in the military. And Dan, what'd you do at the Home Office, Dan? You brought it up. You made a thing of it. You know what I mean? What'd you do? All right, let's listen to this incredible response to by the way, to nothing, to him and which what the fuck, apparently, blaming each other for doxing. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyway.
What was said before, what was said after? No, you lied. You didn't tell her that Becca wasn't talking to you, had not spoken to you, that the two of you had no contact whatsoever. She posted up Wrangler's community post and you replied with that.
So according to Dan, lying is bad. Well, why'd you lie about the FBI contact, the FBI informant, the sources at the FBI? Why'd you lie about all that shit? And why the fuck did Becca lie? Becca, before you said all this shit, Becca lied about having saved her friend, having recovered Charlie from an animal shelter in the Vegas area. You lied about, you're calling him a liar? That's fucking rich, dude. That's pretty fucking rich.
I mean, obviously there's larger context to what you just heard, but did that just sounded like, and then Michelle said to me, oh, and then Susie was like, what? And I was like, oh, what did Lauren do? She did this. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? How old are you?
Right. So called into question now is the maturity level of the Welsh News Network in general, which really, Josh nailed it on the head without saying it. It's a gossip-oriented sewing circle. Josh's description of, did you hear what Lisa said? And then Linda and then Lauren and everyone. That's it. That's the biggest and the best news on the fucking internet, Dan. You're pathetic. Pathetic, weak, dying, and pathetic. And you have the mind, soul, and character of a 90-year-old wench.
There's more. In fact, I didn't even know about that. I just was listening to this. I'm like, I'm stoned, but if my daughter, if I like overheard my daughter and her friends talking like this, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean?
It is a threat, Corrections. I know you tried to turn it into a joke and have made some of your memberships that level. And oh, isn't it pathetic? All these people thinking it's a threat. Oh, no. You're a piece of scum.
Scum, you should know all about scum, Dan. You're the fucking kind of scum you scrape off the bottom of your fucking shoe after you stepped in freshly spit out gum. That's the kind of scum you are, Dan. Is anyone noticing that Dan is emulating my speaking style more and more lately? Just putting that out there.
And it shows again here where you're challenging which. Okay, school teacher, let's go.
Wait.
Why? What are you going to do? Corrections?
Yeah, let's go. Which is the which has a habit of sticking that fucking pointy ass nose of hers in places it doesn't belong, like she did with me in the Tina Slay thing. And you know, she was supposed to show up again for a second conversation. She never did. Never did. Coward. Witch of tarts, you fucking coward. Maybe Mark the sarcastic pillow biter could show up in on your behalf, but I have this feeling that in that relationship, Mark the sarcastic pillow biter wears the pink fluffy handcuffs and Witch wears the pants. It's a pretty gruesome mental image, the pillow biter with a fucking pink skirt on, but I'm sure it's happened. You know, the pink skirt matches the pink fluffy handcuffs.
Yeah, that's it. You've scheduled a live for tonight to have a whole go at her. Created a false ID,
Wait, okay,
found
hold on.
your despicable act corrections.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's it. You've scheduled a live for tonight to have a whole go at her about this and try and defend your despicable actions where you created a false ID, masquerading as someone else.
He created a sock account. False ID, masquerading as someone else. Oh, the horror.
Is anybody getting the idea that Dan was maybe one of the fucking audiovisual theater kids? Not an actual on-stage theater actor, but Dan, you know, Dan has that I hung around with the theater kids in high school vibe. And, you know, I was the guy who worked the fucking lighting, like subpar fucking theater shit. Dan has all the fucking characteristics of that fucking theater dork from high school.
To set them up, to set Witch up, to set Frauder to Reaper up, and to dox Witch. You are just a fucking con man. You have no sense of decency, no sense of morals. You still have not paid your debt to society because you have never paid those fines. You have never paid the restitution.
He went through, I don't know, I'm not going to go through it, but he was like showing where he owed money. I mean, what I saw, corrections owned up exactly to it. He's like, I was a fucking addict and I was, you know, writing bad checks. And then he cleaned himself up. He got 5-year suspended sentence with probation. Something like that. It could be, but I know the 5 years and the 5 years was suspended. And then he got himself into law school. And then it sounds like he's working for some private, you know, kid, you know, the house for bad kids or some shit like that. I don't know. It's such a funny.
You've never paid the court costs. You have somehow wangled yourself into working in the corrections industry, in the prison.
Wangled? It's wrangled your way in. It's not wangled. Wangled is what you do with a carrot or a battery operated device to black over the internet. That would be closer to wangling. What he did was wrangled, douche. Do you speak English?
Industry when you are a man who should not be allowed near those kind of industries.
Oh, says who? You don't even motherfucking live in this country. Who the fuck are you to say any of this? Honestly, who the fuck are you? What do you do at the Home Office, Dan? What was your job in the military?
Because you still to this day use the same deceptive practices that you used back then. Even that article that you love to put out about your time in university and how great you did is full of lies that you told them. 3 months. Really? 5 years was your sentence.
Suspended, but sure.
5 years with that sweetheart deal you got. If you had not got that sweetheart plea deal, you would have been talking about serious jail time, decades worth.
Decades worth of jail time because he was flagging checks. I'm not saying it's cool. First of all, he owned up to it, but who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? He would be in jail for decades. Decades. Let me guess. You talked to, I showed my attorney friends and my jail police friends, and they said, this is ridiculous. That's what you're going to say, right? But who the fuck are you to say it? What do you know? What do you know? Nothing. You know, zero.
And it's what you should.
Right. Perfect fucking conclusion, Josh. Perfect conclusion. Dan knows nothing. Dan talked to blah, 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 blah. Dan could have been talking to his fucking index finger, his middle finger, and his pinky finger for all we fucking know. Because he didn't quote any real names of people he spoke to. So let's guess who he spoke to. The legal people he knows is Mark the Sarcastic Pillow Biter. He's a fucking student, if even that. And he's a pillow biter and the little bitch to the Witch of Farts, who, by the way, I've talked to people who have been around her, because we're looking into you now. And people say you smell fucking bad, really bad, like a sulfury kind of fucking smell. Your nickname behind your back is Stinky. Take a bath once in a while. So, Mark the Sarcastic fucking Pillow Biter is the legal guy you talked to. The law enforcement guy you talked to was Blue Hair, the degenerate, need to resign bear before you get fired. That's his experts. He won't name them because he doesn't want you to know that those are his only experts. Who are you fucking talking to, Dan? You don't know anybody in America. You don't know anyone in America, Dan.
Have got, because you are a fucking disgrace to law enforcement.
All of that happened after he was a cop. There's some theft, it looks like. I don't know from the thing.
The very fact that you are allowed to be in any way, shape, or form involved in law enforcement is a fucking disgrace.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You're not even law enforcement in your own goddamn country. Shut the fuck up.
Perfect fucking response. Who the fuck is Dan? Who's Dan? Some fucking Welsh dude who's trying to grift American money and put it in his Welsh bank account? Because he don't talk about. Certainly, there's shit going on in Wales for him to talk about. He doesn't talk about anything in fucking Wales. Who the fuck are you, Dan? Josh is right. Who the fuck are you? What did you do in the military? Because you said you were a boat boy. Then you said you were on land in Bosnia Herzegovina, that conflict. Then you're talking, you've indicated that you were a fucking engineer. Did you get the hat and the fucking coveralls with your engineer post? What kind of fucking engineer, Dan? Those little floaty bridges? Are you the guy who said, hey, you got to put the cotter pin in this hole first and then that? Is it? Come on, dude. Fucking dickweed. You run the same fucking scams the frauditors fucking run.
Now I'm starting to get pissed at you. Motherfucker, you're not even law enforcement in your own goddamn country. And you're calling this dude who cleaned up his life a disgrace. Who the fuck are you, Dan? What contract do you have at the home office? Because if you have a contract that, I don't know, here in the US, the way it works, contracts are public. I don't know. What do you do at the home office? What was your job in the military? Are you law enforcement now? No. Who the fuck are you?
Everyone that I have.
Oh my God, this drama fucking queen. Rebel at Heart says, anyone know where Wales is on a map? Yeah, it's a little part of England. That's what everybody knows about Wales. So it's a little part of England. Wherever England is, Wales is inside that little piece. Wales is a little tiny piece inside the English map, the map of England. It's like asking where Rhode Island is. It's on the east coast of America. You don't really need to fucking know more than that.
Spoken to who's in law enforcement or has any connections to it, lawyers, police officers, other corrections officers.
How in the fuck would anybody but a lawyer or a judge have any sort of... I get it, cops are in court and there are, but cops don't give sentences. This is hilarious. Were one of these guys your FBI contact? Oh, you said, I like how you squirmed it out. You did a bacon on one of the things I was listening to. Oh, it was the coded thing. You go, I never said I had a contact in the FBI. I said I contacted the FBI. And then, oh God, that's right. Oh my God, it was so hilarious. That was this little clip. And then Tina's like, it's my friend. Well, we gave his, it's secret for his protection. I mean, but we put it on Discord. But if I tell you, what? I mean, it's slippery as fuck. Who the fuck are you, Dan?
Are all amazed that you are allowed to be a corrections officer today. They're in a state of absolute shock that you were allowed to be a corrections officer whilst still on probation.
To be honest, based on just a little bit I've heard, it sounded more like he's saying corrections officer, which maybe blowing it up a little, maybe churching it up a tad, but it sounds like it's a private, you know, like rehab / bad kids thing. I like how his friends are in absolute shock. Oh my God. Who the fuck are you, Dan? What do you do at the home office? What job did you have in the military?
You are nothing but a lousy, e-begging, grifting little con man who has found that by standing on this side of the fence attacking the frauditors, people tend to ignore you.
I want to add, he doesn't have it on this, on all his other streams. It's the crawl on the bottom for his lottery, which I don't know. Can you do that? His lottery, and it immediately gives his PayPal. It's like, if you give Super Chat or PayPal, you get a chance to be in the lottery. How is that any different than anything? This is what fucking makes me so. It cracks me up so much. It's like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, first of all, who the fuck are you? You're not law enforcement. You don't live in the US. You're not American. You live somewhere. Who the fuck are you?
They ignore your history because, hey, you're a good guy. You're standing up against the frauditors. No, you're worse than them fuckers. The frauditors are at least there. That's what they are. They're First Amendment frauditors. We all know what they are.
Great definition.
You are a wolf in sheep's clothing who has been conning your audience, deceiving them into giving you money, deceiving them into thinking you're a good person, deceiving them with your lies about your criminal background, deceiving them with evidence that you have faked and then produced. What happened with Shiz? Did you deceive Shiz? Or are you going to tell us that Shiz was involved? What's it going to be, Corrections? Did you deceive Wrangler? Falcax? Or were they involved?
Does this sound like a serious person? You know what I mean? I mean, he sounds old. I don't know how old he is. He sounds 60 or something. Maybe it's the cigarettes. It's so funny. I guess I'm just, I know I keep saying it, but I'm just so used to being around, not serious people who are serious, but like, who do serious things, who do big things in the world. Like, he does not sound. What do you do at the home office, Dan? Since you brought it up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. You brought it up and said, I have a contract at the home office, which I think was a weird way to say it, but I have a contract at the home office. What'd you do? What do you do there? What was your job in the military?
Not that we can believe you, whatever you say, Corrections.
How can we believe you, Dan? You lied about the FBI sources, contacts, multi-state hunt for Chili, and then Becca to petty fucking lie about her friend picking up Charlie, Chili's dog, from a fucking animal shelter after he got arrested in Vegas, and we all saw the body cam footage of Chili's nephew picking up the fucking dog from the fucking car. You are such the fucking hypocritical liar. How can we trust you, Dan? You've been caught in a lot of fucking lies, Dan, by your own fucking logic, Dan. How can we trust anything you or Blacka has to say? Blacka.
Because you literally fake evidence. You are completely untrustworthy and should not ever be allowed to be considered part of this community, because what you do goes against every single thing this community stands for.
Hold on before Josh. You keep murphing that, Josh. The fucking hilarity of Dan's seriousness, like Dan's the fucking headmaster at anti-auditor university private school for the entitled rich white kids. You'll never be a part of this community. How could you? Forget that black lied about getting Chili's dog from a humane shelter. Forget that Dan lied about FBI contacts and a multi-state search for Chili de Castro. Forget all the lies Dan and his people taught. Corrections, you will never be a part of this community. And again, I think that Josh's ongoing question through this whole video, who the fuck are you, Dan? Who are you? Besides the newest entry, besides the youngest channel in the anti-frauditor community, who the fuck are you, Dan? Who are you? Everybody's been here longer than you are. Who the fuck are you, Dan? And you lie like a fucking rug. Douche.
Oh my fucking God. Ugh. Who the fuck are you, Dan? Also, if you honest to God think that, A, you take this way too fucking seriously. Way too seriously. B, you are blind to what the fuck goes on in this community, apparently. You are e-bagging just with different words. What? God, the more I think about it, it's, who the fuck are you? What'd you do at the home office? What, you said you have a contract there. What do you do? And again, you brought it up. I mean, it's not like somebody found that out or anything. You brought it up, so I'm just asking the question. You brought up your military. What'd you do in the military? When were you in, by the way? I wonder how old you are.
Single thing this community stands for.
All right, hold on. I gotta hear this.
Yeah, they're First Amendment frauditors. We all know what they are.
Yeah.
You are a wolf in sheep's clothing who has been conning your audience, deceiving them into giving you money,
Ooh.
deceiving them into thinking you're a good person, deceiving them with your lies about your criminal background, deceiving them with evidence that you have faked and then produced. What happened with Shiz? Did you deceive Shiz?
This game I don't like, where he tries to play people into making shit up or you know, giving crap about other people. If you want to know what went on with Corrections 101 and Shiz, talk to Shiz. I mean, Shiz would be the best person to tell you if she was deceived or not. Oh, that's right. Shiz don't really want to fucking talk to you because you called her a fucking idiot. And because on Jimbo Felcher's, Jim, do you suck or do you lick around the rim when you clean that up? Just, you know, asking for Dan. He wants to know. What did I do? Shit. Sorry. Fucked that up.
That's what you're going to say, right? But who the fuck are you to say it? What do you know? Where he owed money. I mean, what I saw, Corrections owned up exactly to it. He's like, I was a fucking addict and I was, you know, writing bad checks. And then he cleaned himself up. He got 5-year suspended sentence with probation. So, something like that. It could be, but I know the 5 years and the 5 years was suspended.
went a little too far back here. Look, 5 years of probation is not a fucking sweetheart deal, and it's not a cakewalk. It's better than being in jail. Yeah, absolutely. But you still got to report. You still got to fucking. There's all kinds of shit. It's a pain in the fucking cock. It's not a fucking a sweetheart deal is, hey, you know, all right, you said you won't do it again. Okay, then everything goes away. That's a fucking sweetheart deal. Dan doesn't know what a fucking sweetheart deal is.
After he was a cop, there's some
Little
theft.
close.
It looks like, I don't know, from the thing.
The very fact that you are allowed to be in any way, shape, or form involved in law enforcement is a fucking disgrace.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You're not even law enforcement in your own goddamn country.
Exactly, Dan. Who the fuck are you? Who are you? You're just a mouth with a microphone. That's all you are. The shit you say doesn't make fucking sense. You lie. You have no problem fucking lying. And you do it on a regular basis, Danny boy. Danny boy, you a little liar.
Shut the fuck up. Now I'm starting to get pissed at you. Motherfucker, you're not even law enforcement in your own goddamn country. And you're calling this dude who cleaned up his life a disgrace. Who the fuck are you, Dan? What contract do you have at the home office? Because if you have a contract that, I don't know. Here in the U.S., the way it works, contracts are public. I don't know. What do you do at the home office? What was your job in the military? Are you law enforcement now? No. Who the fuck are you?
Everyone that I have spoken to who's in law enforcement or has any connections to it, lawyers, police officers, other corrections officers.
How in the fuck would anybody but a lawyer or a judge have any sort of... I get it, cops are in court and there are, but cops don't give sentences. This is hilarious. Were one of these guys your FBI contact? Oh, you said, I like how you squirmed it out. You did a bacon on one of the things I was listening to. Oh, it was the coded thing. You go, I never said I had a contact in the FBI. I said I contacted the FBI. And then, oh God, that's right. Oh my God, it was so hilarious. That was this little clip. And then Tina's like, it's my friend. Well, we gave it's secret for his protection. I mean, but we put it on Discord. But if I tell you, what?
What Dan did with the whole FBI contact thing was, if you listen to Frauder the Reaper, and it's in the first 15 minutes of the broadcast, it's either the January 13 or January 22nd video of Frauder the Reaper. Frauder the Reaper claimed to have called the local police in Laney Hudson's locale to, you know, snitch out Chili and, you know, give him the scoop on what a bad person Chili is. And then apparently the local law enforcement, and you look, it's going to come out pretty soon. Frauder the Reaper is as much a con, in my opinion, a con artist, grifting liar, every bit as much as, you know, little knickers Danny Kruger is. She's every bit the fucking con liar, in my opinion, that Jelly Boy, the liar for hire, is. What Dan did was he amalgamated Frauder the Reaper's claim that the local police forwarded her to an FBI agent that just happened to be there in the police department with him. And, she spoke firsthand with an agent. That's the little lie to get around the fact that, when you call the FBI, you talk to a call center. Dan then took parts of Frauditor Reaper's account and parts of Tina Slay's account of interacting with the FBI, and then circumvented the call center thing in his account by saying he spoke to an FBI agent at the London embassy. Dan hasn't given any credentials, name, proof of anything. For all we know, Dan spoke to a fucking receptionist and got a thank you for the call. We'll call you if we need to follow up. He didn't talk to a fucking agent. If he did, give the agent's name. It's not classified information. Give the name of the fucking agent you spoke to, Dan, so somebody can verify it. You didn't. In my humble opinion, you did not. You took two independent stories, amalgamated them, related them as though they were your own, those stories having similar details to the Frauditor Reaper fable and Tina Slay's account of dealing with the FBI. And then you use each other to corroborate your fucking lies. That's what you did, in my humble opinion. Chicken wing. Where's that lawsuit for defamation against Chili, Dan? Couple days to file the paperwork. It's been fucking 6 weeks. Where's the fucking lull suit, Danny boy? The longer it takes for you to file that defamation lawsuit, the more every day that goes by, Danny boy, the more it looks like I was right that you were running a legal fee contribution grift. When you did the fund drive to help the veterans who commit suicide, 22 a day in the U.S., according to your numbers. Did you show any receipts, Dan? Did you show any receipts? Did you show any receipts? You may have had the direct link up, but you got super chats and all that shit. Did you show any receipts, Dan? Did you show any receipts, Dan? Now I really want to know what kind of contract you have with the Home Office, Dan. You don't. You're a fucking liar. You maybe have a janitorial contract or something in that vein. Why did Blacka lie about saving Chili's dog from an animal shelter and having the dog? Why did she lie about? What a petty fucking thing to lie about. What'd you do in the military, Dan? Were you actually in the military, Dan? You hate stolen valor. Yeah, I know why you hate it. I know why you hate it. Because it exposes you as a fucking liar. No one should even be able to. You're the one that said you were in the military. Show some fucking proof, Dan. Show some fucking proof. If you got discharged on a medical due to wounds you received while serving, then you should have fucking paperwork to back that up. Why don't you want to show it, Dan? Because Dan isn't your fucking name? Because you don't want people to know your name? Because you don't want people to run a fucking background check on your ass like you do to people? Good for the goose, Dan. Good for the gander. You keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna fucking... Dan, you flipped it around without knowing the fucking meaning of it, because you had to parrot what other people were saying. You did say to me, judge not, lest ye be judged. Oh, no, you just said judge not. You should have read the whole fucking verse, Dan, because it says, judge not, lest ye be judged, for the measure which you measure out will be measured back to you. Your past is going to come out, Dan, if I have to go to the fucking Home Office and stand outside the fucking gate and wait for your scrubby little ass to walk in. because you don't know what I look like. And I know what you look like, dickhead. Judge not, Danny boy, lest ye be judged. You did the judging, Danny. You're up. You and Becca, who saved Charlie. Saved Charlie's little ass from the animal shelter. Why would you fucking lie about such a fucking petty thing?
I mean, it's slippery as fuck. Who the fuck are you, Dan?
Are all amazed that you are allowed to be a corrections officer today. They're in a state of absolute shock that you were allowed to be a corrections officer whilst still on probation.
To be honest, based on just a little bit I've heard, it sounded more like he's saying corrections officer, which maybe blowing it up a little, maybe churching it up a tad, but it sounds like it's a private, like rehab / bad kids thing. I like how his friends are in absolute shock. Oh my God. Who the fuck are you, Dan? What do you do at the home office? What job did you have in the military?
3 simple questions. Who are you, Dan? What's your contract at the home office? What'd you do at in the military? Things you never fucking tell, Dan. Things you never tell. Rebel at Heart in the chat says, still waiting for, quote, Tub Time with Tina. That episode, Tub Time with Tina, is subtitled, Where'd All the Water Go? She's a very large fucking woman. Huge. Jumbo. I mean, Jesus Christ, she's eating. Holy fuck.
You are nothing but a lousy, e-begging, grifting little con man who has found that by standing on this side of the fence attacking the frauditors, people tend to ignore you.
I want to add, he doesn't have it on this, on all his other streams. It's the crawl on the bottom for his lottery, which I don't know. Can you do that? His lottery, and immediately gives his PayPal. It's like, if you give Super Chat or PayPal, you get a chance to be in the lottery. How is that any different than anything? This is what fucking makes me so. It cracks me up so much. It's like, am I taking crazy pills?
That's a great fucking question, man, and the points are perfect. It does leave you with the feeling like, maybe am I the one taking crazy pills? Wait, the grifting and you're right. Chili's a grifter, Jeremiah Payne's a grifter, Corrections 101's a grifter, and Dan's running a crawl at the bottom of his screen. Just about every fucking broadcast, Super Chat, PayPal, Super Note, make a fucking donation to who? Donation to Dan. Donation to Dan. Turn your American money into pound sterling so Dan can put it in his. How are you not a fucking grifter? Running an illegal lottery, breaking the law both in the United Kingdom and in the United States, and probably multiple other countries. How are you any different, Dan? How are you any different? I paused for a moment to check. It looks like the Welsh News Network has bumped back their daily broadcast to 9 p.m. I guess we'll be seeing some of this on there, maybe, possibly. But if you're over there, give my regards to Wacka, that gray-haired, scraggly, witch-looking, ugly fucking thing. Whew. I mean, the sexual jokes and, Becca is a piece of meat. I would have got a finer cut at the butcher shop than Becca. Ugh. Becca's like the gristle part. But I guess some people eat the fucking gristle.
Like, First of all, who the fuck are you? You're not law enforcement. You not in. You don't live in the U.S. You're not American. You live somewhere. Who the fuck are you?
They ignore your history because, hey, you're a good guy. You're standing up against the frauditors. No, you're worse than them fuckers. The frauditors are at least there. That's what they are. They're First Amendment frauditors.
What the fuck are you, Dan, with your lies about fucking contacts and informants at the fucking Home Office, the fucking FBI? You're ridiculous, the shit that you fucking say. And then you got to lie about something fucking black. Has to lie about recovering her friend, recovering Charlie, Chili's dog, from a Las Vegas fucking animal shelter. You on that fucking lie alone, you blew your fucking credibility and everything. You fucking lie about the dumbest shit, Dan. Who the fuck are you, Dan? What do you do at the Home Office? Do you clean toilets? Do you change light bulbs? Are you trimming the shrubbery? Who the fuck are you, Dan? What do you do? What did you do in the military, Dan? Were you even in the military? I'm calling it. Call me stolen valor. Say whatever the fuck you want. You've lied about so much shit, Dan. Why should anyone believe you are in the military just because you and your queen boy Shuggy validates it? You say it, Shuggy. Yep. Who's Shuggy? Who the fuck is Shuggy? Some Scottish fairy that you two used to hook up in your bunk together while you were on the same fucking boat together? You weren't in the fucking military. I don't care what some queen says. You weren't in the fucking military, Dan. Show proof, you fucking liar.
All know what they are.
Great definition.
You are a wolf in sheep's clothing who has been conning your audience, deceiving them into giving you money, deceiving them into thinking you're a good person, deceiving them with your lies about your criminal background, deceiving them with evidence that you have faked and then produced. What happened with Shiz? Did you deceive Shiz? Or are you going to tell us that Shiz was involved? What's it going to be, corrections? Did you deceive Wrangler? Falcax? Or were they involved?
Make a choice, corrections. Make yourself look like shit or make this list of people look like shit. Just make people look like shit so Dan has something to talk about. Hey, Dan, I'll make myself look like shit. I have no proof whatsoever, but it is my opinion based on the multitude of fucking lies you've told since you showed up at YouTube. Lies you tell to make yourself seem more important than you are so you can grift the money off listeners, Americans. Show proof you were in the fucking military, Dan. I don't think you were. You know, stolen valor. Stolen valor. Show proof you were in the fucking military. Not so-and-so said I was in there. Not the little game you play. You know, what's the fucking color of the boathouse at Hereford? Not the little game you play with Shuggy where buildings are located on the Dartmouth campus, which you can't even get fucking right. That's the one right there. That's the one right there. Rebel at Heart says Dan wiped his best friend's brains off his shirt, he says. Best friend? You mean the guy Dan met 30 seconds before he got shot? That guy? Because Dan doesn't have fucking friends. Dan doesn't have friends. Dan doesn't have friends. He has a lover named Shuggy that he used to, you know, do the rump rider with. Yeehaw! Rump ride, rump ride, rump ride. You're a rump rider, Dan. That's why you get so upset about Merb. That's why you get so upset when I said the FAG word. You're a rump rider, Dan. You're probably using blacka as just, you know, a piece of meat to a beard. You're using Becca as a fucking beard. While you and your aging queen lover grift the American public for retirement money because you the fucking light bulb changer at the fucking home office. Right? How fucking weird is it, Dan, that the day you were going to have your meeting with the home secretary that you said you were going to throw out a fucking window and you disappear on that day? You're institutionalized on that day. Being in a hospital is institutionalized, Dan. I really, you're smoking cigarettes in the hospital. I think you're being held for evaluation somewhere, Dan. You a fucking liar, sweetheart. You need to show some proof you were in the fucking military. You need to show proof you're in the military because you're a fucking liar, Dan. And because you're grifting people, and because you're running an illegal lottery, breaking the fucking law while you point at other people and say, bad man broke the law. Bad. Corrections 101 broke the law in the past. You're breaking the law now. Who's the bigger douchebag, Dan? You were never in the fucking military, Dan. You're never in the fucking military. You don't even know the location of buildings before the fucking cafeteria, the mess hall on Dartmouth campus. You're a fucking liar, Dan. Becca's friend saved Charlie from a animal shelter in the Vegas area after Chili got arrested. You're a fucking liar, Dan. You're a liar. All your people are liars. Becca's running around telling people coded friends on suspension for 90 days. What are you going to do if I broadcast tomorrow from there or a week from now? What are you going to do? You going to apologize? You don't apologize for shit. You just fucking talk shit and then act like you never fucking said it. But we do know this. You can't satisfy Becca with your manliness, so you need a battery-operated device or a vegetable from the produce drawer. The Vegetable Medley Extravaganza, starring the little liar Danning Kruger and Becca.
Does this sound like a serious person? You know what I mean? I mean, he sounds old. I don't know how old he is. He sounds 60 or something. Maybe it's the cigarettes. It's so funny. I guess I'm just I know I keep saying it, but I'm just so used to being around not serious people who are serious, but like who do serious things, who do big things in the world. Like he does not sound. What do you do at the home office, Dan? You brought it up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. You brought it up and said, I have a contract at the home office, which I think was a weird way to say it, but I have a contract at the home office. What'd you do? What do you do there? What was your job in the military?
Not that we can believe you, whatever you say, Corrections, because you literally fake evidence.
Like Becca's friend saved Charlie from an animal shelter in Vegas, and don't worry, you have Charlie. Charlie's safe. That kind of fucking lie, Dan?
You are completely untrustworthy and should not ever be allowed to be considered part of this community.
Like when you put up Lainey Hudson's mother and aunt's GoFundMe account and encouraged all your listeners to give money to them by facilitating the ease of giving by posting the link and all that shit. And then telling everyone to leave these two women alone and don't mention them. Don't that kind of shit, Dan? That kind of shit, Dan. That shit, Dan? Dick.
Because what you do goes against every single thing this community stands for?
What does this community stand for, Dan? Because it certainly doesn't stand for the lying, grifting shit that you do, which I see on a daily basis, in my humble opinion. Diarmid Costello has some breaking inside information on Becca. Where did that go? Becca asked for a cucumber. Guy in the store asked, will he slice it for her? She said, fuck off. It's a pussy I have, not a slot machine. Breaking news on Becca from the Welsh News Network. We haven't yet been able to verify our confidential source in the FBI who has access to the cameras in the grocery store while they're surveilling Becca.
Oh my fucking God. Ugh. Who the fuck are you, Dan? Also, if you honest to God think that, A, you take this way too fucking seriously. Way too seriously. B, you are blind to what the fuck goes on in this community, apparently. You are e-bagging just with different words. What? God, the more I think about it, who the fuck are you? What'd you do at the home office? What, you said you have a contract there. What do you do? And again, you brought it up. I mean, it's not like somebody found that out or anything. You brought it up, so I'm just asking the question. You brought up your military. What'd you do in the military? When were you in, by the way? I wonder how old you are.
Single thing this community stands for.
All right, hold on. You're going to hear this.
Yeah, the First Amendment frauditors. We all know what they are.
Yeah.
You are a wolf in sheep's clothing who has been conning your audience, deceiving them into giving you money, deceiving them into thinking you're a good person, deceiving them with your lies about your criminal background, deceiving them with evidence that you have faked and then produced. What happened with Shiz? Did you deceive Shiz? Or are you going to tell us that Shiz was involved? What's it going to be, Corrections?
What happened with the Becca story, Dan? Did she deceive you? Did her friend not save Charlie? Were you deceived, Dan, by Becca's story? What happened, Dan? Why you propagating the lies of Becca? Ugh, that ugly fucking soulless. You should call yourself the Little Liar Network. You should call yourself the Little Liar Network, because you have no fucking credibility, Dan. No credibility. What'd you do in the military, Dan? What'd you do in the military? What's your contract at the home office, Dan? Oh, you can't say, because then you'd have to kill everyone. You'd have to slit all our throats and throw the home secretary out the window. I think my hunch on the mental ward shit was probably fucking accurate.
Did you deceive Wrangler? Falcax? Or were they involved?
Dan, did you deceive Lainey Hudson's mother when you said you were going to donate $40,000 to her fund? Did you deceive her? Dan, did you deceive Irish Demon when you said you were going to put up $10K for an exhibition fight that never happened? Dan, did you deceive your listening audience when you claim to have contacts at the FBI? Dan, did you deceive Kate when you said you were going to put up money for her legal defense against Chili and never came through with it? Dan.
Not that we can believe you, whatever you say, Corrections, because you literally fake evidence.
Mm.
You are completely untrustworthy and should not ever be allowed to be considered part of this community, because what you do goes against every single thing this community stands for.
Does this community stand for this, Dan? Because I remember this too. Delete Lip says, I remember Dan on live waiting to get a message from his FBI agent about what information he could and couldn't share. You know, that sounds very similar to Frauditor Reaper's claim that she had the blood alcohol test of Jeffrey Racer before it was released to the public, and she was just waiting for the release to the public so she could verify that the news report information was correct. See, all that shit, Dan, that Frauditor Reaper did, saying she had information from the local police in advance, you just doubled down and upped the ante and made it an FBI agent. You did fucking say it, douchebag. You did say it. Were you in the military, Dan? I don't think you were. I don't think you were. Were you in the military, little liar? Were you ever in the military? Were you? What'd you do in the military, Dan? What'd you get discharged for, Dan? Let's see some fucking paperwork, because all you do is fucking lie. What do you do at the home office, Dan? Scrub the toilets? You have a contract, or you work for the guy who has the contract? You scrub the toilets. Toilet scrubber. Lime sucking bootlicker. Toilet scrubber.
Oh. Oh, fuck. Dan, what the fuck do you think goes on here? What do you think you're doing? You... Oh my fucking God. Oh fuck. Okay, so I realized on the last video, I was like, a teenage girl goes line by line, and I realized I was doing it too. I'm not above it. I'm not above any of this. In fact, I'm clearly, I don't even care that I'm not above it. It's also stupid. It's all entertainment. It's just, Dan, what the fuck? Also, again, who the fuck are you? Literally, who the fuck are you? You're not law enforcement in the UK, in the US. You're not a US citizen. You're not a foreign national residing in the US on a visa. Who the fuck are you? Yeah. And then your seriousness on this was you can't be for real. Oh my God. Do you, honest to God, do you take this whole endeavor and your position, what you feel like is your position, do you honestly feel the way what you just said? Because you These are things of an insane person. I don't know what you got going that you are fucking. But again, man, you brought up you got a contract at the home office, so I don't know, I'd be curious to see what what you do there since you brought it up. Or I probably can't tell me, right? Yeah, I forgot. It's on double top secret. You wouldn't. And then you brought your military. I was curious what you did in the military. I mean, I'm legitimately, this is not, I am, because fuck you.
Seriously, Dan, fuck you.
Seriously.
They say I'm crazy, but I have a good time.
Go call your FBI.
I'm just looking for clues at the scene of the crime. Life's been good to me so far.
Well, we gave you just shy of 4 hours today. We hope everybody's happy. Got you Phil. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Late start on Thursday. There may be a broadcast tomorrow. Until tomorrow, I would like to say thank you to Logan Sandman, Rebel at Heart, Diarmid Costello, Walter Texas, Delete Lips, for being here with us today. Thank you very much. We will see you again tomorrow. Thank you. Good night. Josh, man. Fucking stoned vet, PhD. More of that shit, just outright mocking, laughing. Dude, you're brilliant. That's maybe we could get together and do a mock fest, coded mock fest. There's more than Dan I'd just like to make fun of at this point in time. Frauder the Reaper, you made the list. We're going to be taking a look at you probably sooner than you think, and definitely once Shiz gets the receipts. He'll have a lot to say. But the same grifty grift, in my humble opinion, that is being condemned at Delete Laws is going on at Welsh Snooze Network, and definitely Frauder the Reaper. Remember, you can't trust the people that do it for money, because they're doing it for money. Adios.